The Tale of Genji, Mistletoe, Murasaki Shikibu. People of Inishi hate the Ifukinaku larger daughter. In the Omoi Karukana also Manzanillo, Akiko. At that time it had been said Fujiitsubo the Seraglio was Nyogo of the woman of the late Sadaijin, when the emperor was still a Razarari in the crown prince. Because I was the most early in the raised person. And it is especially deeply to become you have a familiarity. But your affection or to become you have appears as that of the form while even without stand as yours things like towards the Nakamaya is made to be your many temple who despite was also basa you in your fine each. This Nyogo is one person you a princess who was only able to birth. Instead of viewing the sad fate that he fails to competition of concubines. Nyogo Wanta who is also a complete happiness to be the only comfort this house over the long future was important to Kashizui. Your appearance also becomes come to emperor also loved because it was our beautiful. A woman Ichinomiya, which was born from Nakamaya. By so come to respect the emperor as no world tagi. Gather the world is also a special tribute that, apart from these points, without also be much inferior by so come to the gorgeous life as a princess. Greater was the remnants of the forces of their father minister of Nyogo still remain in the house. Materially imperative not from the place, and including the clothing of the maids of the woman Ninomiya. In the decoration also gorgeous vary according to season in the palace. I had a Kashizuki you willing, not lost the flashy and heavy ladylikeness. As the attempt is made 14 to you will become year in the equation of Nono of the house. And the Shitaku to the dedication from the spring. Is Nyogo want to make everything even none to mediocre to average the same level as hoped. Treasure such that transmitted from the ancestors of the house also was Sagashidasa triangle help. The expression of Sunny Nyogo which had become very enthusiastic it is. Died shortly after beginning to noisy Chamana no Ke from the summer. Unfortunately, Obo Shimeshi has been emperor was also worried about your tan. Because there was a friendly person. He regretted to say, as well as palace circles officials of the imperial palace was lonely. It all shinon the Nyogo of Fujiitsubo well as directive which was not lady our relationship. That would be a woman Ninomiya as comes on even think sadly you Kokorobaso to above all young girls. Heart, pathetic worrisome to Obo Shimeshi be emperor. It became summoned you shortly softly to the imperial palace and to his Shirjakunichi. Emperor turned to come to the barnacles was of so come to comfort the woman Ninomiya. Mia to become a black mourning figure is. Looks more Karen, became come superior is it's good. Nature is also the intelligent. That there is a quiet, deep than the mother of Nyogo is made to know or a little masa. But was the worry is also basa. As an actual problem and certainly patrons to this man not uncle to look. Brother of slightly Nyogo and stepbrother is financer. Repairing, because there was only like Taiyu. That you are a person who does not even high of Izu status be a mons from exceptional world in. Background is when it is pathetic that would be is often detrimental to the body of the woman. Emperor just become one of the parents of sports of the mind with full responsibility that this temple was also our painful. Garden of chrysanthemum flowers are still Niigata to become not prime of time also the end. But the sky was also lonely day turned to drizzle. Emperor where will come also first to Fujiitsubo then. That of the deceased of Nyogo it becomes like to speak out. Mia although it is Dai-sama not Rishiku children. Emperor from being such as to answer no flame was cute Obo Shimeshi. Not the good people who love recognize the value of these people. And it will see thinking of whence Suzaku Institute has become to marry Yuhimamiya to Roku join. Is that which is not trivial tired that at that time, princess. But as used to say in the world both good and holy is better to become come alone. Will you have a good child? Such is the source Chunagon. And women Sanomi a long time ago an unchanging world of respect to which it is attached or is received not. There is also a fact that so come by, if to come in single or not, the only weak woman, if there is that would fell in negligence, not that of the spontaneous. The contempt from natural persons and the unexpected could have been a result of receiving. Become a thing emperor to continue to think you. Somehow I want to decide the son-in-law while you are in my position. Who is the person dear enough to a good spouse when will wax and you think? You think of the emperor to the fact that the woman suitable son-in-law in addition to the source. Chunagon of the son of Sanomiya is not resulted. Any point there is no place where you not rather look good than as a good man of the princess. Even had a mistress on the other. Is a man that should not be such as to occupy shamed the temple became his wife. However, not sooner that the legal wife, since it is not the reason you are in, does not have forever things. Emperor these things before that would like alluding to him their intention was sometimes oboshi meshi, their nichitai became come hit the go. Late and there is also flavor the run of drizzle will play. Is to look at the beautiful colors pointing of Uikari to chrysanthemum. Summon the brewers, who is present in the chamber of the now palace circles. If it became ask, Nakatsukasa Sir Prince, Wano of the Prince, will he have Asin of Chunagon source? The Asin of Chunagon to hear, and Kaoru if there Seth Wasam down. In fact source Chunagon such a special control-ish person to be summoned by Icho, including the aroma smell from far away, had in their appearance with a high value, brighter than today's drizzle as hero. But I think on the day good feeling, we will not feel that music can hear you. To comfort the Sure case to that which is not boring is because first I think this is good. The emperor turned to you to say, will be ordered you a cross-cut to buckwheat. Now commanded the opponent to Kaoru, from the usual habit to be called you to something like this intimate sojo. And Kaoru exceptional not anything might think. Should such do it, but I hope there is a good bet object. It cannot be passed in about a little of losing. What do you think? There was said that Kaoru whether he realized your mood had become Fu was nervous than hero. Emperor a double dip out of the third in the game of Go is now you're losing. Mortifying thing. Well today forgive chrysanthemum one branch of this garden. Kaoru without the answer to this your words down the floor. Came broke one branch of beautiful chrysanthemum. And if the flower hopped to the fence of the run-of-the-mill the saw is folded to leave the mind. Was exerts this song was to along the yoboshi meshi, etc. Ne'er chrysanthemum garden to wither ahazu to frost wonder if the rest of the color there is sezumo. An emperor begone. This something like this become your illusion seasons. Well direct Kaoru ask, because the nature of this man did not think also about to leave proceed immediately. Not his real intention is to get married. There is a variety of marriages also up to now, while there is also a sorry feelings for the people to have continued otherwise. Got a wife now become laity what was advocated that the different is. I feel I return to the profane world where those strange to myself. Miss if they're even in the must and unexpected people in mind but is also somehow be a negative and also, if this was the princess of Afterbelly, Chunagon think of but would not think so too is also too pretentious so Soryoku it is intended. This story Sadaijin heard. Bisho is sealed. Not to proceed with adoption in Hyobu Lord of the House with you 6. But Kaoru was Mai's refused once oath. Also reluctantly, if you ask the hospitable though was optimistic that should us to the marriage case. I think that is likely to have happened unexpectedly. Hyobu Lord of the Temple is the story from the front and not in your ride. Something 6th people since it is becoming Taurus carefully the letter seeking negotiations to you. It even with less credibility. Nor should that does not cause your love if it is to his wife. To become no matter how faithful the good people too bad respectability is to do to the man lower. The status if there is. I think because it will be not be able to satisfactory own mind. Determine the still Hyobu Lord of the Temple to advance as a target. become a difficult world of that there is a good son-in-law to the girl. Because Emperor even is also become a decoy, the labor of the son-in-law to choose for your daughter. Not of an ordinary house daughter is gone, even allowed past the marriageable age, unexpected and the like. To say Sadaijin also is critic some of the blame to you think of the emperor. For that appeal to be realization of the adoption of the Hyobu lord of the temple to Nakamaya has become often, after the temple became need help to the temple, though he minister lived waiting once it long as pitiful. I is also heartless not become depending on you forever to make an excuse. Things that the prince light depending on the patrons if light at all. Also by such at what you see without. I because of all the time will say. If your top of the rain also will become the other end. You do not have to think well. In the case of normal people have a wife was take am I difficult to further marriage. Still have two people of the wife without leaving that minister in the serious one. Not there is also instances that have been able to continue to love both the same way. Let alone you if we obo shimeshi and is expected of the status of the above. Because of such excuse if you are samurai even several people, quote, and accepting the sports let alone long year lessons to hero. Because Hyobu lord of the house himself also is indifferent was never that of becoming not women. Come on. It's no reason to be refused you it correct to be subject to very much a treat as a son-in-law kun in just the right house. And would be to lose the freedom. But the point is to become think you as unpleasant. Antipathy of the minister to your words as per Hahamaya if it is not a good idea to abada. Lot of it was to become you also resistance force less taken now, because it is amorous your nature of not to as also still give up the princess of red plum of the house of that and shall use Dainagin come. The flower, your whereabouts even to there as an object of curiosity attached to foliage to come. In Taurus it is made of. That year was a disappointment. No thing, since it was done also mourning life of the woman Ninomiya. Emperor is no longer any more you have Akari sports. Even I suggest as to obo shimeshi one to immediately become the exclusive in your entreaty. When it is that an even root of indifference to no not face because some people something like this come to tell to Kaoru. By force favors the mind. Through human with a woman Ninomiya. Also be occasionally send a letter as a suitor it became way. Such as Toriawa unexpected attitude is not even supposed to be showing you as well. Emperor heard from people things like say obo shimeshi the period of marriage and around what month, but was the as suggesting that your acceptable sport in itself. Just people of Uji is dead even now in my mind is missing are. In order. Not appeared it would be the day that Sukuseru forget this sadness. Such that it has copper and there was that person of the quarrel. Coupled with mind to this. Finally was finished to not become a couple nodia wax in it wanted suspiciously. Even identification matter how low. If the person's was similar to that person even a little myself would love as a wife. The only Kaoru be like this and whether there is no way to see just imaging that the smoke of Hangon go through the think is in. It is not even mind waiting for the establishment of the woman Ninomiya metropolitan of marriage. The better of Sadaijin is suffering from a provision of your marriage 6. I mentioned the period in around August to the temple. This you also heard in the article of the hospital. Also was the case. Well I think that will always be there is a collapse of happiness as a woman that does not have anything good background that like myself. It came up today. The amorous your nature that have heard for some time. Well I think the person who grave to ask must not have together and also the temple things like I think your meshiku you show it to. Deep as there is no world in which change of love sported do not promise only. If it becomes as it is in a good suddenly right home of daughter. It will be your own mind. Which is comes why? As the identity of a man of moderate par. To become as it away at all from yourself there might, but would be brand senaban are a many no matter how annoying I think. Because there is absolutely what Hiku may birth. be attached to be considered will become that at length to return also to the mountain village of Uji. Out to go home again and to remain came must have is that it and exercised so Shira also Satobido of Uji. Myself Kesu also the marriage rebelled against your wool of Chichimiya. Came out of the mountain cottage embarrassing error of was of you think of in fate that gave dear and reproachful. Sister Kun is a daisama, but just soft fu a place looked outside. Spirit became come as shore. Chunagon but continues sadness the death of Sister Kun so hard to forget now. If when I live if unexpected may have been be the musings, such as the now of their own, and guessed well such a future, that was not to become a person of his wife, variously have continued escaped from the love of Chunagon so as to dodge until one is either not tried to become a nun. Life is sure to become a Butsudeshi also survived and it must have been. Come to think now was the direction which has an extremely thoughtful Chichimiya also Sister Kun the upper nor myself also, that it would so come as viewed from the other world and is a thoughtless woman. But was I think embarrassed sad? Nothing my say. Are you in and there is no need to be looking at the heart jealousy is preferable to say that there is no effect even saying recalled that the near adoption of the temple it was spent in fu unexpected come entered the ear palace from routinely is of this story will show you also more affection than hero. Nostalgic also be a talk which J also in the future fu promise you the love of the permanent of a married couple not only this world it was to become. You had to remember the plague of the body not usually from this may around in very painfully want there is no such thing as, but appetite is diminished, had become just next to every day. Mia was not of your experiences see nearby the things that a pregnant woman has been oboshimeshi. Just the will has become something like this since it is hot time. There also be oboshimeshi suspicious indeed, if perchance you wonder not became to be able to child. Things that pregnant women because that way seems painfully want things. Both became your say, and you're ashamed of in. Was not that the air making only fu is not the case. Since there is no people who tell stepped forward. Certainly you can see also the temple in. When made in August, the temple to become the first time come to the place of the princess of Sadaijin has been heard too. You in from the outside is the fact that several days. Mia as the inn is not made to have a heart of heart. That the will not be to be you and seemed sorry, the poor to become you started to say. Mrs. thought you're a meshiku even it not be done hidden, since it is the graven time around and just be you say that you know in the world throughout. But come your Euromeshiku it is reasonable. From came the Mrs. to article of the hospital. Even if your go to as long as there is no such special your errands imperial palace will be around you to another. Is the temple to be such that in stayed in your way also basa there than not? There was no also be the cause keep you kokabin to visit you the lover to his wife. And will be what kind of feel that if such a marriage suddenly the other hand to become a think your kokoro guro shiku is going to make him a little a habit from now. There is no difference sometimes to oraso basa and night duty in the imperial palace. It was also interpreted only towards everyone reproachful to Mrs. When Chunagon also is that pitiful. And I thought of you of the medium in this problem. Temple sits it is what is your nature of cheating. Even if a come love, your mind is more toward the new Mrs. Ornate would be drawn as that medium since it is where you are at Konka also asked him the momentum. If to try to detain you a son-in-law Mr. without interruption. To the different change the way the until now and the like you is supposed to overlap the night to continue to wait for apathetic. Even attached to the thing it is believed. Well what a thing. The disadvantage is his own. For what that person to the temple was probably at yield. From remember the love to the dead princess. Religious crystal clear mind also becomes opaque. Become blind. Well I think that person to collect all the passion. The consent and hibaka, and is not a real intention to win in the men of the force without obtaining just to have been a little even fun fancy, just my future dream if the establishment of the love that I think loved face to that person, that people will continue to show a seal which is not feeling the love. As proof have not seen yourself to truly unsympathetic, but was encouraged to marry you and to say that think it's the same body. Just for me from the place of that person attitude was frustrated Yurameshika. And the like once you carry out the marriage with you in the temple break the plan of that person has become a crazy taking unreasonable way mediator recall that at the time is the disadvantage is Keisuge Kaoru to have been his was shame. Even if the temple has also become what your circumstances, but was also think I should say if there is a refrain from a little then to myself if to remind you that at that time, also the temple is not such people, is not no such thing as being a topic that at that time since then. Those of amorous people, not to the opposite sex only, even mind also hate you with such apparently with less sincerity and friendship to Kaoru happened. Itself appears to be a think frustrating others from to Junichi heart. My mind from when to die that person does not appear to be happy also was supposed to be bestow his daughter of the emperor to the heart month and day I think if you have been obtained to his wife and even crispy when come to just that it is a sister of that person is not the cause that I think is not thrown away. Also limit also love that had each other have of those two women to one of sisters be those without. Even when I was close to dying, leaving say that seems to keep the younger sister the same thing as their own. There is no regret in addition, that it has been removed to that adoption of hope and familiar way. Cannot peace of mind by having ceded to the other, because I feel like not only live to see the consequences is that people where I say and you know, such as that of the new marriage of the house in the other world, the more their own and the like would be to think the Yurameshiku Kaoru every night to the desperately lonely alone sleep. Such a thing is likely to cool in the eyes and the wind. I think of the past and the future. I thought only without dull the world, and mistress in the information of negligence, in the people who are placed in the home as a wife is. But there should be people who love also likely to have occurred in the nature and truth. There is no such a person as a fact. Always I did not know other than the mood of the single person. That and that are working such wife as class of people, not as good as Princess Aruji also become unhappy about herself in the transfer of Jisei. The was our lived Koko Robosoku. He called to the house in sympathy kind of wife, such as it is not less. Negotiations with the opposite sex is kept to less. When it is achieved the purpose of a priesthood, collection and people who can remember the attachment, such as this person is likely to take to heart even though there was a myself I thought deeply in. Let us not made, now is observed myself that are attracted of you to many hearts in the lover of Yukari dead. In love is not an I'm a light of love and suffer of caught up to think that such a regrettable. While that of myself, Akatsuki, which had revealed without sleep as it is, a mix of ephemeral morning glory and visible lot of beautiful appearance of flowers at a stand fog I feel that stops in particularly I that there was. Kaoru is died to learn from a flower that has been likened to ask lack of life with that scene. Because was became in the morning lying in the manner of a nap at close of the edge to remain also. Raised or fried remains of the evening. It was that this is also just one person Kaoru place go blossoming had been watched. Called the samurai, because I will Yukagayo to the north of the hospital so as to issue a simple car. It has changed the costumes from commanded, get off to the garden in order to go out. Kaoru was standing mixed in the autumn flowers, but not to try to show you bother gloss a seal. In the gloss to a strange, equipped with noble elegance, pompous wind flow their unexpected beauty that compared the like man. Grossly do and draw the morning glory to the hand has been spilled. Looking to take flowers to the unexpected disappear of Russia to put this morning between the color in love den. Ephemeral. Kaoru while to himself and so was in hand a fold. not touch the Amadashi, is the bottom of the empty glass minded became dark of fog in accordance with the will done release. Kaoru headed to the article of the hospital. The day of your absence of the temple would be that nobody Yorori to sleep. Rating Arsumato also object to ask the guide hit that would seem to familiar unexpected man. Call the servant as Kaoru while I think that was too came very early in the morning. And try poking a medium from the mouth of a perforated middle gate. All lattices there seems to be up everyone, and I will have signs will be something of wives. Say, no wives to come entered get off the in the fog beautifully Kaoru of walking. Although the temple was wondering what became your away from your fine beauty place. With moist air to the dew of Kaoru enlightenment whether it is who to have been carrying a special smell. It is those who still special, but I just do not trivial things that come in foos too clear. The younger wife had whispered. Surprised Fu also not a current wasa. The people enough good feeling seemed also good well how or out of the decubitus make a sound of rustling of clothes. It seems here to honor you that please forgive me and may be sitting. But is pessimistic by receiving a farshi hospitality in front of these bamboo blind. You do not hear about as often. Kaoru say ina, sa if there is the need happen if I taste. My wife replied, such that the north side of the parlor. Hidden chambers is a place good I am allowed to consider it as your rory of old familiar that like me. But it is also because the thing by Obo Shimashi's wife. Do not I would like to complain. And say, Kaoru saw that as sad as Yosaka carried the upper body to one step higher long press from the edge. Example wives up, just asobase a little come to there. Referred to as such, he had urged his wife. From the original appearance docile. Is a Kaoru, not have as such as roughness of the man. Because I have become more and more sad quiet Fu. Also you are that seemed ashamed of that conversation with this person in. When there is no longer thin it was supposed to think more easily without te ragase. Is your body that you have heard that bad what way of your disease. Such is the Kaoru here. But it is impossible to obtain a swift Stonehenge from his wife. Kaoru to know that there is a reason for a view of the Fu was May, then hero is. Look at it as pathetic. Something like that readiness of mind to continue to punish by the world indelicate. If there is such a brother, tell me was if to say the Fu also comfort. Voices that did not think also that time is what was similar in particular maybe such as. But, the more suspicious to Kaoru was your voice and sounds as old people. If there is no unsightly to the public eye, I want to talk turn to the opposite pointing also pulling up bamboo blind. To become full of mind you want to see the face that are sick also. From the following while the man is alive musings to the next that is what follows is this. His is also Kaoru was realized himself and became a body which is not must I get to the agony of such a mind, if not in the presence of a gorgeous this world. To not become someone like not know what to do with myself to come tend to the pensive to mind. But my was hope and want to spend a lifetime. See also sadness from his heart it will be. Foolish regret that now also Komogomo remember it is a pity. But people that crave this promotion of rank thinker without the greatest hand. My to 10 out than it the more I think would better than a little bit of sin depth. Saying such as. Kaoru has been looking to put the flowers brought in a fan. White morning glory in them is becoming reddish. For it is also seen in the beautiful colors. Quietly into the bamboo blind it pledged it. Ran base view each have to elsewhere Karu towers of the pleasure pushy morning glory flowers. And he said, contrived and though nor as this man came brought. I think those were brought in without lowering good you also. Go deflated look looking while you are entering looked in. Is Masaichi Naho is Okururu to fragility of flowers painted to the unexpected disappear or what to lean on life of Russia. Quote, and he said in a low voice. Nothing to say is followed by it. And I think that is very similar to you also to see such a place in which would ensugan deeply. Mouth refrain. Kaoru first it was sad. Autumn is also the more melancholy me. Also has other day I think I Nagasamu I was went to Uji. Since the garden maze was also really rough. Rough people also in there and gardens to pretend maze was also remember the fall of the ride. Made unbearable feelings. After that my father's hospital became Ryu died. Also Roku joined also except hospital of Saga became muffled as the later years monk Butehu. Is what was cry uncontrollably everyone. Also from the color of the trees and grass. The sadness from the water flow is invited. In your background checks of I'll go home with me to tears was normal. Counsel he was of went farewell was not tweet is better for everyone without any person of mediocre quality find to another place. Respectively. It is what the world was Kokoro's also was isolated life. Also my wife, et al., is not the big deal about herself so is completely drowning in sadness. We have all turned to the other if made or entered into the mountains and so good too. Boring unexpected were scattered or become in the countryside of the people. Then the fact the house of the deceased after you have above vandalism result. Come to be populated to come Sadaijin is also. The temple ye also become that you use the Roku join parted, respectively. Only by now also now in the form of old Roku join it is reproduced it was. A Rihoto will a thing that comes out of those that give up if the years even after that was in great sadness here. I saw at that time and shows the time is only in sorrow I will. This I since the sadness of the old days had to say was that of a boy. Even though the heartbreaking perhaps heartbreaking did not want so much to learn. Close look has been a dream of sadness is still to do is also possible to wake up from it can. Not be. Although neither of sentimental difference in the by bereavement. I think the thing himself to even remember a lot of pain pathetic towards the death of the people. Of sinful love or relationship than the parent of death. Quote, Kaoru cry saying, depth, such as oozes information was visible, without knowing the large princess. Also in love was not human. To look at the manner in which gave me the sadness of this Kaoru it seems to be no way that does not boil tears. Even your own in a much less kokorobasoku in these days of bitter pensive it has been. Because was also a reminded miss that of Sister Kun now more than ever. Is to see the sorrow of Kaoru more by the thought is recruited. Will be enough to not say a thing. Cry of the has become uncontrollably Kaoru also know. We were each other I think pathetic in both. Rather than of the world float lives to come to Kyoto and Yamazato as Carrie borrowed Sabashiki yo lived in the float of any world what it of things. And not be considered as I said old people also I still compared to but got off in. And I just envious and none of the valve in the now and there is still the frequently seems to be that. Want a quiet life enter to the mountain village to be. But even if I thought that cannot be immediately executed these days you. Although this month 20 several days I do not have to feel like a moment of silence to hear the bells of Matera of tomorrow this mountain. And to gently Sanso in your courtesy would you please to my go as. I want to thank the consultation I had been thought. Quote, you've said in the, even now I think you no matter how Miss Uji it would be impossible. What was that easy lady to persevere on your road can go? Because it is a terrible road to traffic even in the man. Over there well I think I like also that the miles to you is likely to be overdue. At the temple like Goki date we have been asked everything to everyone that Acharya. More of Sanso'd like to have a thing of the only Buddha if Mo's my hope is. Because went from time to time is the place to be attacked by a painful sadness. I want a temple, such as you can of say show annihilation I'd think. What you will be is what you think. What Tomo by your opinion because of you want to decide. Oh Toko wanu. Please saying without Fukuzo Toko okay to do so. To anything so to wait to perform as it is your mood I am satisfactory. And to say, it was a serious story Kaoru is. Such as the memorial service of Kyokon and Buddha also seems to the attempt is made this person is. Also in Uji, you went to the Uji entrusted to your anniversary of a person's death of Chichimiya in You know it's the fu seek approval as it is to intense to hikikomoro. It should not be made to put your thoughts like that would Kamaro's pull to uji. What you're shy to see become a generous heart even if there is. It advised also like, since the day was the state that came waiting upon who gathered when up high. Kaoru and go home because it will be subject to likely misunderstanding of things too much even for a long secret in. I will be embarrassed because the thing that does not have the experience to put you out of the mistakes wreck anywhere. Also let's ask them. But it was carried out by the greeting this temple Kaoru because it is people such that you have your suspicion that it would came why choose the time of the absence of your own thoughts. Samurai in order to avoid it call Yukio no Daibu that is the length of the place. I was asked to hear that last night Miya-sama became out you from the Imperial Palace. But either would still be good if Omanakaka, Recta was a disappointment. Imperial Palace because it has not been to your return house. And he said, let there be your way today. In addition, even in the evening, Kaoru in out of the 2 articles of the hospital. Each time touching your stuff it passed the sign in. Why yourself to be wished the large princess disobeyed. From the will of took a treatment which is not trivial of thoughtful ensues of regret just. Why yourself this Kaoru that it would be obstinate mind up was also reflection. This person is still are you in just a house Buddha work continued to vegetarian. Hahamaya is there in your nature is no news yet youthful. It has a look and be dangerous such a life of Kaoru. Because I would not really alive even longer forever. Please have a fuma as a happiness that I have. Even if you try to enter to Buddhism. But he cannot be stopped while they become my own nun. This world different because I would also think sad even miss it. It will eventually become to make a sin while living in. Quote, become you say that there is. Madanai Naku also seemed to feel sorry for Kaoru. Is where so come of Hahamaya was under the guise of fu no pensive. Although the Sadaijin who was are looking forward to Hyobu Lord of the Temple Toteno regret not to greet the son-in-law Mr. Heavy Equipment and also to polish the east of the palace. To come to the moon of Sakuya is considerably higher since the grave. The news that very if the favorite is try out the use while remember the anxiety whether that will happen in the future because it's apparently not proceed. So come to the article of the hospital turned out you the Imperial Palace in the evening it was brought. Uncomfortable minister because it's so come with a loved one thought. But respectability also think that bad if nay dispense to tonight. The son of the head lieutenant general is to use was to gift you the next song. Wonder if you not look too good to wait in my ing dwells in it month of the firmament. Palace do not want to show myself to honeymoon on this day at hand. But it became to come to the Imperial Palace in Obo-Shimeshi and to it is a cruel. Became a spirit to you in the letter. The reply is what those in which was the one. The temple has become moved us deeply. Is softly also came to enter you to the article of the hospital. Not in your feelings go out to see the lovely wife. Sorry but of letting the heart variously vow long in the future be Obo-Shimeshi. To know how not Nabu-sama of you in month together with invite the use of head lieutenant general when so come to look at as I arrived to the article of the hospital. Although Amaris have been many also agony until now, is to the outside have been completely suppressed my and show out. Because it had to make the ignorant seal. Are you so without listening to be a nothing and tonight there was a temple to become a pathetic? You think, when to listen to the came of the head lieutenant general. Truly temple will think you also there of people in poor. As we go out, you come immediately back. I must not look at the moon alone, because it is a dangerous concern. Such as when you are not excited about the mind. It says it in a, from which you go from the hallway, which was hidden by embarrassing you feel to the main room. You're in while seeing off your back figure was ashamed of himself the flow of tears. Such as the flow to also pillow. To reproachful to remember the love in the house was about to be embarrassed that. Sometime it's better to go by myself is pulled. It was realized that then is also cause it to happen of resentment. Young day the mother of with no daughter from, but by the Chichimiya the grave also to love you the world the only recourse is to headlong Sanso. Lonely Uji, Timon without accustomed to it. While remember Sirezure of his mountain villa era did not know the world is as sad the shim to learn about now. In the after Shinjo care to Chichimiya and sister Kun. But I thought sad miss the deceased so that it does not bear to be alive moment. Life is there not lost. Followed happily days a longer than despise the people who thought but I did not think things. Also seen your faithfulness to the house of attitude toward their own. By becoming your treated as a legal wife. But it had come at last pensive also subside. The fact rumors of upcoming New Year marriage in accordance with the come in. It became the immersing himself in the what suffering known in the past. Is between the other temple and my seems to have ended with this. Unlike the case of dead people, no matter how new whether to become love you a wife, but sometimes it should be thought that it would be to be a come. From the moment that I saw become your go at their own thus lonely tonight. Both past and future total darkness such feel like to Kokorobasoku. Cannot do anything that I think. Into small-minded and even pathetic with their own. My and the like is also only be such as are alive if it is also pessimistic. And tried to comfort himself although you then is to the agony in accordance with night indulgence ended only month of Obasudayama. To see the moon shining in my heart one cannot comfort Sarashina and Obasudayama. It is clear, and go went to join. To have a calm and May dwelling compared to the sound of the wind, pine was also Araka, mountain. Wholesale is not think tonight. UN is inferior to the sound of the leaves of the mountain of the vertebral were think. Autumn wind the shim to the body just right in the shade of Pine Mountain Village is a Kariki. Well the past of sad dream was forgotten. Such as old was my wife. The other you enter asobase. For my name is thing not good as that you look at a long month. And because I do not even meshiagara little I was candy in this section. You will become what you become in such a thing. Sorry, I have not found good. Previous sadly also of the troubled will remind you to us. You enter asobase. They say such a thing. Young wife at all. In the Tansoku to be a miserable world. That of the new marriage of the temple like. It's really bad, but I will not be that sports discarded take this wife. What also made to have a new wife. Who was in love deeply you at the beginning I because you say that's what remains of sympathy for. Coming into your ear and even or saying and the like. Is unsightly it. My anything say from their own even if the other what. Because is this person and I will be in fu not know that I think is. My is the person to the criticism. You me alone own it maybe I think of resentment. I do not have him so either. Your depth of that chunagon like of information compared to the temple like. The good woman was old also. Do not become the wife of that person. Even I think that the mysterious fate that was to become your in here wife. It's also had each other whisper such a thing. While Kokoro Guro Shiku Obo Shi Meshi of you in the temple. Since it is of a control nature to become a head one after another interested in new people. From your heart you want to go under the guise beautiful enough to be pleasing to the other party. To go out to Kishima a lot of incense became appearance became there you had an inch of clearance nor. Your young nobleman, East Palace of Roku join was also brilliant. Instead of that petite delicate princess. Because there was a bride that was such as good physique. What kind of person will you? No wanted beauty to very much Yawarakami. Or would not have a woman as strong self-esteem. Such a wife as it will become unpleasant it was. But it is of such a thing first came to you think. Could be to have a love what was your impression of Rishiku not the case. It was in the autumn of Choya. But went soon Dondu became late come on. Hyobu lord of the temple was not accustomed to come to immediately west of the pair even if your return. It became right your new wife's sentence of happening from getting to your nemi for a while by yourself of your living room. Such as the wife who apparently did not also do not like you and that your state had a backbiting. I wife is feel sorry pair even if no matter how come have a great love me alike. Natural. I because will also happen be press care. Because there is people who have between me also me a relationship not just a master-slave were. Many. Here even the feel of jealousy is what is brewed. Although the reply from there and from seeing here is the temple is became come to think. Because goodbye was revealed is also not just a night. And would be that I think no matter how lonely. You will notice and it became directly come to the west of the pair hanging on. There is a place catching still the remains Sukara of which do not result in his wife's faces. Very beautiful heart of the night. Even to remain slept knowing that it is now come the temple. I think that since it is possible to inviting the antipathy, color, etc., which refers to the redness of the face that are a little getting up. This morning where the special also looks beautiful. Become as it would not without any temple tears in. To become come to watch for a while. You were face down the face ashamed of in. Also being so. Hair take so, that there is no beauty tag you to like flies so the house became your impression. Not out to such words of love a little mouth to the evil of the rules. By diverting the foo casual. Why would look only to the so pained? Blame the heat you become finely cooled because I have said. To which I think time already good. It is that should not have hair bear not properly. Various prayer it would be a good thing to extend a little more as to feel invisible efficacy even. Though is still a prayer and would often show those monks want the efficacy. What was the idea to put to you to stay the night the bishop? There was even you in the what is your mouth good think you Tomashiku also to be the likely serious. Talk like that. Anything not to your Stonehenge is a baka, that it would appear to be different in hero. Because I was healed in nature not Itadakanai doing anything even prayer. Such is the average person even when such a long time ago. And he said, so it is well healed or contact the palace become a comedy. But it became to think you that it would not be the person who can compare to this is equipped. With point of a nostalgic charm. Of where impatient with, on the one hand of your mind you want to know well it should be noted that the bride it becomes available, will become come also remember the love in there as well as average year. However, taken come on now together with this person. How grave a little also I feel that was reduced yesterday of love. Until the future of the world even if you're started to say. To become stand your vows not to change have heard. You and is. This world is in the teachings of Buddha there is no difference in the short ones. And even among you wait for the end of that. Because you must be seen to you like that reproachful. Of the world of the future than you the more of the promise that I think might be good if you are. To believe you. We will try to trust in your word to not learn by experience yet. Quote. And say. Wept today what could not bear anymore. Although it was the emotions that have been suppressed by confusing yourself as your show house is. That's something like this I think even today. Many things will be, not hidden to come to overlap in the chest. Also tried to stop the tears began to spill the flow of many without. I think painful ashamed, a completely or directed across the face. By force palace is your argument for here. Two people living together. Though I thought I loved the same way. So you still there was separated the better of you. I have my heart in one of the last night if it is not it's strange whether. Mia will say tailings comes to wipe your tears of his wife in his own sleeve. Your feelings you are well sassed from the fact the change of heart during the night. You showed a smile to say in. Hey, what happened? Hey, that what that childish do you begin to say? But because you do not have a really separated to me. Just that is to say immediately came to mind the eyes see. So it is peace of mind. No matter how skillful words to it and also because it is a fact is that with one another wife too. Not and I also try to hide. But to blame me no with that two world lie because no thing but Karen was in trouble. May leave well you see thinking become to me. He says made so that it can not itself to remain in their own mind I am. If enlightenment world there is there one thing presentations and showing you the proof that I love. you more than anyone else if me open in front of me. This is because not that should be lightly mouthed. Only if life is even longer please have thought that. Quote, use the temple of that so come to say that such was to be served to Roku join us. Too little drunk, which was recommended by the other party. Forget it should be consideration. Front yard of a pair of the West income I came out to? Because over the clothing of beautiful firemen standard head to shoulder people that it is the use of Kinji new. When did your letter should not agreeable also to imagine that it was written. Although the temple is also the by force does not try an oboshi meshi is to become your hidden. To kokoro guroshi of the people who are tearful, and those that may be telling a little care. But now I thank you that the use somewhat bitterly. Well thank you because it was gone longer all exposure. Became not received your letter of reply commanded the wife. An oboshi meshi and let admit that if you can in the cheerful of one of my wife now. And will open you a letter. It is because I seemed that became your hands of the stepmother of the house. Sporting a little peace of mind. It became a place you there. Whether even those written by other people. Must have been that given the notice as a temple. That I will reply that I like to come out. And I thought it was rude. But I recommend that you write. Because we will just to annoy likely. It was to everyone wilting each scene loose place Karu become remnants and squid morning dew orchid. Lady Ish had been beautifully written. Grudge is also annoying to be told that Masui. Actually I am still comfortable for the time being but I wanted to go live only with you. Although the temple has become come to say, such as, in the case be between ordinary people that the principle of a monogamous are also seen as legitimate. The good people was a new marriage. The wife of from the previous although nobody has to mercy-free things. Not everyone is trying to shibaro the high nobility in its morality. One is the should have been the case. Among that say the temple us. Shining since been around the future and was Hyobu lord of the house. Such as so come, wife even several people because the world is expected to be of good is to have. Particularly article of the hospital of Mrs. seems unexpected even to be sorry. This way received the treatment as a wife. It's a say and even a human happiness of you and that is loved deeply. You won't even been accustomed to two water also tight unexpected couple living in. It is to suddenly be treated lightly seemed that it would have tankawashi. In the event of a relationship such as that so two people in one person. Why the woman would also read that it would so much to the anguish of the old novel. But it was a feeling. Not fall in full also of others. Of myself those painful of mind if above. And it is painful. Came to you know and become now. Mia is made to show you a more intimate good people the first time than before. It is not very best regards that unexpected nothing to eat. It will be referred to you as such. But was become also recommended sported by the wife or allowed to be in particular order to prepare to stock now the good made of sweets. That the never touch it ear the finger in have a look. It looks that the trouble. The palace became to come to the Tansoku. Became come toward the main room became so nightfall. Standing blow cool breeze. It is a funny evening of empty flavor. Because became come with a gorgeous hobby. Let alone beautifully control if these know the temple to be out to you to go now Atsukiri too. Their appearance. The produce of shinobi surplus melancholy in the heart of the thing pathetic miss is also not unreasonable. Only home of Sanin Nabuji to hear the voice of Higurashi is missed. Wonder if late what we hear in Ohokata of Higurashi voice Urameshiki fall. He hung himself with. Mia became outing without Sarakasa do so tonight. Boggling along with the tears of the voice of a collective precursor is the flow to just even. Hanging a fishing line Kato. You're in a while I think that is sorted that while we were sleeping. And from the beginning of the marriage is continuously temple became so pressed just offensive. At that time, and I think the time that, were at length as even seems Utomashiku. I do not know if painful cause safely even pregnancy that without the production of the body is dispensed. since it is of a short-lived family, and we think that such might die in that case. Life is unexpected seems regrettable. Also to be the sad thing as I thought. In addition to die in such a case it was revealed thought to remain sleepless and the like since it is the thing deep in sin. The next day then that Nakamaya has become now you're on your illness. But it wasn't down to everyone Imperial Palace. Is Sadaijin which have been found to not be tell us worry a little bit of your Kazeki. Exited within the day. Then is headed to Jitai by taking the same car invited the source Chuinagon. The day had become night carried out the formula of Roken of 3 days. No matter how the brilliant minister also will or we attempt is made the expression. But there is a limit to the guests is that of the time like. Appeared to would not be flashy used. Although cause Renara the Kauru to such a seed as to appear in the heart ashamed minister if there is too noble seal. To people with intimate intimacy and son-in-law Kun was not even in his own sons. Also it seems to have done with because I was Kauru that pride is also felt to show to the others. A family of people. Here ought to be entered also to busy feeling with his brother without similar Roku join. Without fu regret that was Kimi sixth wife of others. The something to help me the use of the formula for his brother. The minister was also thought to be which is not trivial little things. 8 o'clock a little over glove around the temple became come. I had been able to seats of the son-in-law Kun preface to the east between the south of the main room. Zen of Koashi is 8. And everyone is beautiful dish placed on it. Or small meal in addition to the 2. Such is the dish of the dishes that were put on the table marked with decorative legs. Are arranged beautifully even eyes to see being of ritual are also provided. Keep writing that such common as hesitation. Minister to go toward the new couple living room. Say to my wife because had dandruff is another night, but was to encourage your out seat of the temple. The temple is the fu hard to be away you from your sixth reluctant became come in. Directed same as tonight of guests is the brother of the wild goose wife of Kumoi. Just like Wisteria Prime Minister was coming from outside. Finally figure of the house, which remains to come out of the then was beautifully your fine husband play of the head Lieutenant General President Ohima the cup to you. Proceeded everything. Mia has become the cup that give one after another in 2-3 you pile. Kaoru is when you are recommended Gosh to take care of you. The house became a leaked you smile a little. And previously sported the story of this adoption, by the like to become a son-in-law of the favorite home of the daughter of that bowel informal ritual. Had been reminded became Seiyu to Kaoru to be tired of it myself in an unbecoming it will become. Then more of Chuinagon, nothing remember fu dog. I had to only politely. And also this person was the entertainment put out a face to the shuseki of officials of the companion provided towards the parlor of a pair of East Gorgeous Palace circles officials elongated. To the woman of the costumes is also to 6 of frequent 4 position. Is to 10 men ranked 5th triple Kasane Karakuromo. That there is arithmetic is also 4 of the pattern of the waist of Sang. 6th place 4 people is Iya elongated. Was a fireman's standard head. Such as is issued Hakama. Since this case was not possible beyond it have also laws and regulations such as gifts. It had been aligned with selective quality and processing. Jousei samurai is the thing such as and also excessive tenari is given. Since these flashy shikiji are those dazzling to the eye. But the also first written such as in the novel is that people told myself was not able to keep one by one counted. Source in the retinue of Chuinagon. But to be a man not so much duty. Entered the dark undeniably into the garden. Come to see that is their place. Leaked the Tansoku, Lord of the Inner Wood why would not have become to become your son-in-law to hear of the Lord is. Not to say you trouble. Unexpected boring but you're single a life. As are murmured in middle gate of the place as Chuinagon thought funny entered the ear. Itself it has to wait until late at night. And the only being allowed to remember just boring unexpected drowsiness. Seemed son-in-law Mr. Retinue has laid himself in the intoxicating has been kindly somewhere. In the tatami room and Nectar tried to compare the of the will of was envious. Kaoru will lie in the bedroom to enter the house. It faces the formula as a new son-in-law is that of the awkwardly, and has come out to seat father-in-law was a very much addressed. Even to the relationship that is from here all familiar in cups that aka lit to recommend a candle. Regardless of the temple as became come in response to calm remembered and so were those of your fine. It is if you have something like that in fact daughter was superior to their own. Kaoru you think would not bring myself to other than this house is to be raised when you go to the Imperial Palace. Feng Hua to smell the temple also anywhere in the house and those who did not get the magazine is wax there is still a source Chunagon as much a candidate that what for he also is said to arranging you into the temple and such public received their own and not Senabenara no means bad hubris was also. If the Emperor of Obo Shimeshi Mr. becomes what is the truth that bestow the princess yourself. Not something like this reluctant well what should I do? Whether to be an honor. Do not seem grateful as their own. Dead woman Ninomi a lover was very similar nor as it would be at that time happy if now is completely a truly denied come to Chunagon too. To say that Shuren shall use thinking I sharks tend alone sleeping Zure of such as in the example. Another mistress that night was revealed to go to wife of the room you're feeling a little deep love, although people into wear it in the morning is not even that strange want. The Kaoru that happened in a hurry seems to worry about such a thing. A woman must have thought your meshiku, of which passes only start of a romance can name the defunct Sakikawa forgiveness to the world what? Oshikire. Kandansha using said, it is pathetic to think. Suhi of servants above not a Fukakara is shaking etc. Of Sakikawa seen whether the absolute loose ones. Kaoru was saying, to the heart of love in which none even to ask is said to be deep. Above woman to be said admitted that shallow is not should you did not remember the pain. The Sumato Kaoru opened. I wanted to see out fast and I thought the sky of the goodness of this dawn. I do not know I think of people who do not try to taste this kind of deep flavor. But not the wind flow once man. Of after revealing suffering from a long night autumn dawn. The thing that shim only been thought up to that of the world of the future from the world. Quote, Kaoru saying by diverting such a thing went out, is not to say a lot of things well in an attempt to yoroko baso a woman, but because it is a person with a gloss of coca of their appearance, which the other party was also not think that such a ruthless, the relationship between the beginning made and the provisional such is, and do not want to leave them, or to have an idea, such as say that if it is possible to see just face have at least close to. In spite of the place so become a nun. People looking for nepotism has come out to my wife worked to this house it seems that the thought the shim to the body, respectively. Hyobu lord of the temple is by becoming to see during the day a new wife on the day of after there was a formula. It was to remember you a deeper love, in a medium tall, is a human feeling is pure received from the whole. Hair took on the cheek. Head with the beautiful conspicuous among them. Hitomi with the skin Hokuraka a noble face was the color has Niawashi too white as Rashiku. Extremely lady. There is no addition to that there is no drawback beauty. 21. Was a 2. We saw a Yanli become prime of flowers without a place which is not completed not a girl. Value that has been cherished raised was taken sufficiently received. If you look at this in the parent of love, there is no difference in the eyes also think that the beauty of dazzling, but soft. If there is a charm, your goodness in the dainty point was a temple made to think you. But as Hajira, also Stonehenge that when they are talking about, also not be allowed to remember the feel is not news. Equipped with a talented woman, seems a certain value was princess. The higher the 30 beautiful young wife. With a dojo 6 people as princess. Also including such persons' clothes. sparkling correct thing is I think that it is Hyobu, lord of the temples, so come to see as insatiable, conspicuous, unexpected wonders it had been so made to Fu. Also because cherished minister of Yugiri the pick this time of the son-in-law than when they worshipped the eldest daughter gave birth as Sanjo wife to the crown prince was prepared. Would be the height of your reputation of the temple was shown. Palace of the later and then did not become. Can you also be the kiosku come to the article of the hospital, because was not light your identity. And it is also difficult that so come and go during the day to there. Will live you in the manner become much come earlier to the south of the palace in the Roku join. It got dark in East Palace the and may not accustomed to can you may also want visiting the city and elsewhere. Because of that temple is none to become on several days. But I thought that would be to turn out this way. Blatantly callous also immediately it should be noted that if not had to undergo the treatment. Clever. If a person with familiar with their worthlessness was supposed did not come out until to Kyoto. Are taken now off the Gesu Uji you're in sad not think that it has come to have the sanity of. Still want to be if go lit into Uji. Rather than Fugo abandoned here. Wanna rest the mind even for a while in there. Respectability be carried out in the rebellious would also be bad. But it should say it. I think the agony of Toko so as not to be completely backpack alone. Ashamed send a letter to the thought. But the source Chuinagon, it Fukin of Buddhist memorial service the day of was able to know in detail and there is a report from the Acharya. If you did not have a person who will please think like you the old relic. No matter how the deceased is also it seems just glad your kindness is attached to it seems whether there was a misery. It should be noted that this thank you I would like yourself when you meet you was sentence. Character on the Danchi is also the air and is serious to write the first time without regard to appearance. But it also seemed beautifully. Other than a letter of thanks the memorial service attracted monk on your anniversary of a person's death aid of the temple for the Kaoru gave me performed in Uji. Thanks to exaggerated is not stated. But favor seemed admits deeply. Here are people who even reply letter not come right more fu short put the mind to send from here is to the joy of the things that are written of things like that I think I would like to thank itself. Da also Kuchizukara Kaoru heart was Tokime. Mia become drawn a lot your mind is gorgeous life became profitable. Pathetic that the look of you of the agony in about what not to dare come into the article of the hospital. Love ones it is a letter not. But Kaoru without many times not omitted from the hand was reading repeatedly. What's the answer? It has received. The other day and I say a lot of things like the monk. But was I who was 10 the only thing the old days? It is because it was the time of year that does not help but caught in retrospect. By now write a relic. I'll Urameshiku that it would be Irasharu made to look a little shallow feelings that you have in the house like the deceased. Nothing we will talk to calling on nearly everyone. And no nonsense sentences were sent in writing to the white the colored paper. Kaoru asked if you in the 2 articles of the hospital in the evening of the following day. Because it is people who along the heart to think miss you in. Divided like without any clothes is worrisome. In soft clothes. Because the facilities but was had come to Kishim the incense on. Is too high smell scattered around. The clove-dyed fan you are always using was allowed to remember the beautiful feeling even such as incense stand without knowing it. Because you also did not even be recalled that the old that night in be attached to the love of the depth of the Chichimiya and Sister Kun is recognized. Fate is not stuck in the will of sister once I was in was not may have remembered the upset of mind. Because the girl is not as try as compared to the mind of the person reproachful. What the finer Kaoru's was also found wearing. Hirao was sorry to have hospitality too far people properly. It is this person that's unfamiliar woman to humanity I think that I do be. Today is put into mistakes in front of the room. Itself served with Kicho to miss the center of the room. Tried to talk in a way that drew himself to a little behind. There is no then was Yumana Kikudasu. To thank you forgive me and want to come weak and unusual. But I wanted to marry also immediately. Because the thing that me a recommendation has accepted to be a come to come. Your convenient has decided to today and I say to withhold the unexpected might be your bad. This is well my sincerity for a long time was might been recognized at last seats into the remoteness of a little reduced mistakes that now also be asked. It is unusual, quote, and Kaoru of listening to say, you will indeed also embarrassed in, but was I think so is not to the words. And I heard the good offices you, that during this period of your kindness, and we thrilled mind, then I do not do well I would like good as always. Oh even the one end of the feelings, no matter how, such as might do you and I have proposed appreciate you might because what was disappointing will understand, quote, to say omitted as much as possible words with shame and was heard to Kaoru to Tete faint, is not very far. Fine story if also because there is the old story you want to hear from you. This being said you think the reason in an even faint sound came closer toward the Kicho was a little Mahirogi. But was Kaoru feel the urge? Casually while making a more sober appearance. Your sincerity of the temple was also the static people also say. Also talk like comfort you in as to reproach us with were those unexpectedly shallow. Since such is the heart, which I think you Urameshiku the temple as you in it's not to be put to the table. Just diverting the food that they think the sad Urameshiku life. Talk about the gloomy these days of mood in Kodo Basakuna. Rishiku mind to ask and I want you to take care in Kaoru's hands that moved temporarily to the mountain villa of Uji. They have told their wish. The problem just is not possible to be able to be mutually accepted at my own discretion. Or now obediently you ask to the temple like, but I think it is nice to be followed in your opinion of that person. Not otherwise if supposed to harm your emotions. Are we or become angry that it is imprudent not good also for the future. So without the gently you drop off and pick up to over there if it made the consent your but no. Matter how in my hand do you think that there is only in the convenience and well good offices. That there is no danger even if your committed wife as I am familiar is the temple like. Even while saying such a thing, his own in the story have been just dominated by the sense of regret about the marriage so when in the past, gradually dark and hinted that always think that are not as devised to make the old days again now. Is your medium to customers that do not go home until going around remember the annoying. Then I also because also they're in a very bad condition of the body. If you have time not such foo, I will suggest a good talk. And say, been thought performed will in the unfortunate became likely to be retracted Kaoru. Even so, would you think you trying to be out around come to Uji? Such is the garden of grass that had become badly extend also I would like to do a little beautiful. If, say in order to curry favor, are you in that for a while shifting back himself also? Because we'll end in the other this month soon. I think that even the beginning of the next month. It would be good if in Shinobun. Even I do not do to all of consent and the resulting or you like very much of it. Answered. Its voice is a very pretty. For more than a year I will miss the heart of this people. Which was similar to the large Princess Kaoru. From the bottom of the bamboo blind of the next word was also leaning not out of the mouth pillar. Quietly I grabbed the sleeve of his wife stretched out a hand. If I think you are was afraid there to yourself from a little while ago is likely to occur. Premonition of such a thing in. It cannot be put out also blame words. When they are about to go further have at you towards the back. With the sleeves were, as between the close men and women. Kaoru was lying snuggled to you in putting the inner the side of the body from the bamboo blind. I do you wrong. And Will was so unheard I was to take and be glad it became to say you that there is good to be. In Shinobun, just was going to ask it again. It should be is not for handling each others. But do not gratuities. Heartless seal or, is also you la ma way to Kaoru wife does not even bother to the Stonehenge. While holding by force that the occurrence of involuntarily hate of mind. Would you mind that what? Those who like him, you like the things like you cannot even imagine. People will think if sorted, chides and Kaoru to be poor to think in a little sense even to have become just as cry there is. It is not even anything that touches the moral, so much of it. So much to please recall the old days, that was the story. Forgives Queen died also there was I. Just because approached. Was Arcee in the eye rash Aru and reproachful as possible. Irish I with confidence that it is not my having a rude heart. Such as sensuality Han is. And say. And Tofu gradual without showing the passion. Only regret of the day or the other several may followed. The trouble of love that will become too painful. Continue mention to bits and pieces from the beginning. Also had to be to leave with regret because it does not show. You why not no be good in. Was not sad enough that there is no current aligned total of the word sad. Rather embarrassed than the others do not know. And Ito Shiku. To see that began to cry. Kaoru. What happened? You, girlish. While the condemned this person of Fu is very pretty painful. And where there is no Mamoru gap itself, there is a rich ladylikeness. Then the knight saw that the old days are far more complete beauty by being unrecognized. Although it has its own, which is the other married. Painful agony be that the now frustrated now that the was of Kaoru also cries. Although near the wife is the wife of about 2 people had been samurai. If the intrusion of man which is not known. But will anything get out to help you in to say also that this Shunigan, since the close relationship of the people is to have this behavior of his from the heart, which I think would be of something translation, and Hibaka, that you are close to the ignorant to make a face, has gone to theirs is that is sorry for his wife. Shunigan is also serves as a Joan the regret of the old days rise. But what had been in the heart suppressed, even in virgin era of Mrs. Because any man forced bonds. Such as also is a person who did not hoist, did not remains one action. People who talked to the author looked it is difficult to host sojutsu, such a thing did not you dare say. There is no effect even spent time what? And Kaoru thought is that it must be suspicious in the public eye we're going back home. Though was in mind yet, such as the evening, had become close to another dawn. Was that of deference to your honor in the even of that has been worried about the unexpected might be my Gameru people in such a time. Rumors or bad condition of the body for pregnancy was also a fact. I think an embarrassing is one to remember a lot of itamashi of the belly band on the waist of the jacket had with my scene. It did not appear in any more of the act. There is by example, but timid in their own, but was Kaoru that appear to be hard. To that there is no compassion is not his real intention, is gone, and that which is not shall make left a temporary impulse will yo quiet in the future. Of heart should not be. To would be a lot of hard time even to go through in Shinobu in the public eye. In that the temple, the new things with that person to Komogomo even and do not can imagine that will be the agony also. Try to is an also clever reflection, rather than the fire of love that cut holding on it. Came out to farewell was not even trying to do his miss mind already want any more to see you. Also I think even really like this not he lived not past a love. If should say Kesu Gesu I meet do Kaoru of mind. A little thinned in the past. Is your remnants in was nobly Karen to feel that remain along the body. Is that the other had become Kaoru not a little also considered. But seemed to want to go to the very to Uji. The temple is should not be made to forgive me. That to perform it in Shinobu and to say or do so also for that person. Even world condemnation for their own not regard supposed to receive a lot of. If what way such good offices and respectability well of, also and would also be achieved of their love, just in the heart that became the imaginary thought it. Things omowashi likely to Kaoru was sleeping in the house. It received Kaoru letter to you of at the middle by the time which is not fit yet dawn. Appearance as in the example was Tatsubin that was sealed in a no-nonsense big Divine road divided into Itatsura thicket do not empty or old you boyeru autumn. Soon noru it not also, indicated otherwise known unexpected bitterness. A mystery webren resentment knowing yourself also right not no otherwise noted bitterness ran. Only as my name so for the frosty hospitality. It is such content, because it will person to be the also doubtful not issue a reply to see. It also seems painful. It has received, very because this painful day of the body, your reply is unexpected not be give. You wrote in with, when this is too short letter. I think lonely less than things. Only vestiges was beautiful was reminded miss. Perhaps because that became a married woman. Without showing the seal to fear recklessly. In the form which made many grace seems lady. Along with the ingenuity and the like are reminded that to retreat preached to fu soft to miss the intrusion person. Nekamishiku also. Kaoru also the only thing variously that person sad is think. I thought joylessly with itself. Discouragement is no need to. Once you become thin in love of the house, that person should be on their own only the news. But openly am not accustomed to the couple. But would be two people that hesitation of the world. Be left as a hidden lover. Yourself might make a lady love to the other. Only to that person and his wife. Such as your own will I care think in a lifetime. I think the only thing misses of 2 articles of hospital it is also only scolded unexpected heart. Because there, when is regret, also. But it has become a wise person when your confession is pure love to the person. This man does not even been away from the pathetic lust is the sorrow of man. Death of large princess were those none of the irreversible. But at that time did not disturb as much as Kaoru mind now. This had in mind the things that draw even dream of a variety of future and even beyond moral values. This day is to hear that temple to the article of the hospital has become come. A point heart is a lost with your parents in. Chest roared at jealousy. I thought just Kaoru envy you at temple. Palace too. The became come just to be 3 days in Roku join. It became your way suddenly been your meshiku oboshi meshi wall of your own mind. There is no other follow other this fate is malleable. Has a house show you the temple is a grudge against. Also I think you're in because it's that it is unsympathetic mind to people you trust as let's go. To Uji. Finally right also it seems to have become a body that does not can be asked the left. As is inevitably the yourself a hikume woman. No matter in the living Daisama is admitted. But the circumstances remain out as. In his mind this because the was the. In the Karen obediently. Because I have seen a seal not know. Jealousy. The temple will be to remember you a deeper love. The person. Always feel pleased to compassion. Was also forgotten that grave to come it became come to comfort his wife with all the words. Such as the fact that not. Abdomen also becomes a little high. Has become even been attracted our mind or tied on top of the clothes of the abdominal belt are shy, since we're those who grave to know the person who is still pregnant direct. Has become rare even I think. Everything even after became come to the new house that was too or clean. Here to become come is in all respects kiosku. Remains to be seen you miss. To become lore said repeatedly vows day of the delicate future you and even if listening to a man is good at Minaguchi. Recall that and talk very well be the person who confessed that excessive love Kaoru. To be a deep person also of mercy until now had always thought. Is himself devious love you oh by that I do not think also to have the favor. Is more of the oath you of the future of the house. Also happened hard to believe a little well I think that might be the case. Even so. Until by the careless so will be surprised when you come and is that person into my room would have had if talking to respect the older sister Kun will bond the couple was not achieved the Mudas. But it seems to be person of rare sincerity. It is attached to the feel and not a person who is allowed of care as their own if you did that act. The Kimi finally guard against the risk of the man in the house it seems the terrible if that grave along come ceased. But it is not issued to the word. because that was in my heart that was spoiled a little to the temple than before. The temple is still pretty to be oboshimeshi. The heart became attracted is to come. The smell of chewinagon that are ingrained in deeply misses from a specific incense not resemble to the takishimi incense. So come to study well the things that smell because there was the temple. There would have noticed, as if bizarre, is trying to tadaso misses whether there was or anything, because there was no one was far from doing so in that and the fact that so come to doubt the temple. Indescribably answer is difficult to. Mia made to see that the is silent painfully. Will there be your imagination thing should, but noisy is your chest and avoid being he is a home indifferent and is all the time that he had thought. Although Kaoru of smell is you and it had instead take off than the one last night as well. Such as single clothes below. It was not died in the attention despite systemic. Looking at the place wherein your suffering would be advanced up to the place to go. You say will be a Mrs. by being pursued is miserable. I felt no place plants only. I might do my love no matter how deep. I have to say that because I now have the two wives, of whom they have not identification is things like that he is also trying to love the free people. In the same way it is to. So much I did not come home long. Are there is no not really. Was pale loving you then I had my faith. Quote. It has become your responsibility and the like. Even if they're to ask you to food that is to also think this way from the heart to love. Sporting a jealousy to you and you are without saying a thing. Kaoru accustomed to Matabido wonder if Suru resentment tightened the lingering scent of the sleeve too. Myself. It became year Seon. Mrs. to not bother to even excuse the temple to become a come dress and no remember to wear. I do not know what I would like. What about that you started to your misunderstanding? She asked the clothing in that familiar paint Kavikari similar Yanan far. Quote. I was crying saying, even if from a Karen as possible of the state temple to see. Such appeal is made to think you and was probably attracted Chuinagon. It will become your more net Hamashiku. Also himself to buy ones and twos tears because now spilled your feminine thing. As well as any negligence. If at all. Such food cannot become alienated the people. To your appearance and beautiful painfully. To not be able to become come to say just a grudge. Temple also comforting to say in order to heal the mood of the people or tenai became come in. But come also your ori to sleep the next morning. Was to complete your here nor morning porridge show so it is from getting to your place. Just shine parlor decoration also of the bride in the living room of Roku joined Korea. The transfer dyes are exhausted and a decorated in China of brocade. Is to remember your stay very comfortable goodness of peaceful ordinary house. In the wife is with her even have mixed the wearing tired let rest. Air quietly watching routed has been made. Mrs. on. Such as soft, pale purple. It had slowly piled up the elongated pink color. People anything even orderly turned to look at them to be not such a prime beauty of the bride that doggers. Not to think you also poor. Because can remember the nostalgic beauty, which corresponds to your love of the house it should say, was a person who is not exceed rounded, but becomes a little slender. Color was you in elegant beautiful and finely white, even when the ordinary that was not attached, such as the smell of causing a suspicious doubt, because his pretty points charming is a person that has become come to see that better than anyone. Is close male nor brothers this person attached natural voice be heard by the is also there when suggests also how why would be indifferent in need and will always result will be to remember the love. The temple is sported the imagination from the erotic mind of your own te, which until now I think your door indica to come, such as letters with a view of the obvious proof that whisper love from. But the inside of such thing as a cabinet or a small karabitsu in the wife in the living room was to become implicitly you looking for. Such there is nothing short just written of serious things, like not even a literary is, without and also to another in order, not show it to people. transporting discovered that had been mix of the thing. Is a wonder. This kind of errands say you should stay in what is not with your doubt of what happens in today. Your heart is reasonable also not become calm. Since Mrs. is sufficient to woman high figure is also a hobby of Chunagon not only has the charm to remember the interest, not should, not reward and love, because it is a good pair of men and women. The relationship of Soshi will also become, in order to be of such your imagination. Temple joylessly Haradata Shiku. It became to think you Netama Shiku, because, not silence the anxiety you feel. That day also to serve as the come stay an article of the hospital. The use of your letter to Roku join, became out 3 times you. Such as the wife of your word is old and what accumulate also become do you say also do so out of a fraction of the time had I say the backbiting. Chunagon but was remembering the suffering even to hear that so come stay in so hospital of the temple is 2 articles. Yourself is wrong. No regards is burning stupid Joan. In pure love not such love to a person who is determined to try to help. Think back of the unexpected must not think that shall the unexpected think. Even if in this state, is glad moteru of confidence that must have someone who is cool in their feelings it was. I think that the wives of clothing was to have been Virgil to the extent nostalgic. Go to your living room Hahamaya. In good goods on Namono, whether there will be able to your hand, it may be a little necessity. If you ask him, since the annual memorial service is next month, the day white cloth I think there will be such as the willing of. A lot died ones such as Hero because not put in my place. Let's not made in a hurry. Mia came to answer this. I do not be to it, because you do not have been being in very much of it. Is fine as it is made. And Kaoru I mentioned, by, for example, to do to ask to the place of sewing relates persons, and to be used remains area wasi in costume several pile of woman, beautiful elongated, etc. Served everyone well as silk and ayat to wear down. Their own of the good things of the scarlet glue silk mallet is a finish that has been able to Chakario. White eye of only the waist with if there is no land of Hakama I thought one to attach to several overlapping of clothes for there was one signed in when you add to it to resentment and the conclusion Karua pledged that Tadahi Tosu the lower string to be DJI. I wrote a song with in wife went the year that your daisuke. The gift as was delivered to the place of close people of Kaoru. Because it is suddenly omoida and collected goods. A good set is also unsightly of you not. Please use assortment as good to each other is accompanied by a letter that those of Chakario wife. There was as not inconspicuous in each other pay into the box. Rapid had become separate. Daisuke did not this report to you in the method comprising was accustomed received a gift of such a favor from until now. Because should not have been returned with such unexpected received, also to worry about and whether or not the things since imparted to the wives without the people have taken to sewing. Asked people to your near the temple your husband and wife in the young wife seems to be thing was trying to keep to the especially beautiful. Rather feel that you do not stand out of the old clothing was to be to suitcase on a white lined, such as made of shimazuke was good. Who other than Kaoru for this misses it would be the person to the supplement of these substances. Because the house became come loves his wife. But all are in the Hakara, so that there is no inconveniences becoming come. Until that of the wife of the clothes was a place where not to Atsuki of the favorite. Since it is of it was not to be and your thinking of doing so were those in important reluctantness in himself. Not to know also is poverty is no matter how painful thing is that a reason. Unlike the temple to become a come to think like a just world is going thing is toying the dew of flowers dressed to remember even the chill. Since it is for those who love. Kaoruji spare no auxiliary material is attached to something because it is people who are grateful as a rare favor. In that you do not stick the care of the temple. There was also such as nanny to say things like reproach by comparing the Kaoru to get better in the gas. to or not mixed in the appearance of ugly as in the dojo even or noticeable it is time to time. Mrsum ashamed it. Secretly also it rather made a lot of pain in this house to be at the was not even a not think. And to think and how your residence after the honeymoon of the ornate temple that is even to the reputation of the world these days. No matter how officials who are attached to you in the temple will look down here. The air you are you in the agony that will laugh at poverty. Because Kaoru was the new Duomo-iya. To people not a sister place. Extra out also it seems to be that too. Despised rather than lost the courtesy to. In that they are not as noticeable. From the heart to think that there must be no people who think the inability of the wife that with the help of their own shinobu it was Kaoru to NDE. In order to have this gift, it is possible to make Totino the well-dressed wife, or Toivu Chigi, was able to give everyone even the cost of purchase of the Aya. Kaoru also important to Kashizuka been grown-up person no less into the temple. High self-esteem also has. But it also has aristocratic personality that transcends from the general of the world. To here to the cottage of the 8th house of Uji citizen. Remember the compassion and the thing called loneliness of not a rich home life was more than imagination, not just to your family. It began to save universally people less fortunate materially. It should say pathetic motive. Kaoru is throw away evil love for you in all means, but of trying to or stay in pure sympathy status. Not left to think its own mind. For painful always just think is in. With a letter right to bits and pieces than before. Had from inadvertently began to send good news. Such as showed in fu came out heart of love. And is the fate you've been along the dreary things and tan. If there were a people that does not know anything. I tried it a crazy rumor. But would be easy to dismiss such a mind. To have confidence as a special patron for a long time. Afresh the contrary is a glance to a falling out I think that would be drawn. Is even there only is indeed also Kaoru love pity no mind. The temptation to drawn in as hesitation and unexpected shall be taken as those are the opponent. Agony it has been. Wives also understand likely to young people these feelings of Mrs. Shallow familiar coming from before and after that moved all new to Kyoto, and since is to say that the familiar people who were aged wife at all, which was in Uji from the old days. Painful it is also not able to reveal to the left and right of the person. There was no cage, not remind the sister-kun. When Shunigan, if the sister-kun even come also should not become a matter of course in such things as the love to yourself. Death of large princesses seems sad. The temple is to have it to heart. Reproachful it and it is likely to expect you in the love of this Shunigan thought to painful thing. Kaoru remembered in mind the things which is not completely suppressed. In the evening, which was sad as examples came to visit you in the article of the hospital. By immediately laying was issued to the edge. When you have had the body that does not hear about a story in itself they're sorry. When here you came to relay Dinin. Kaoru is diverting late so as not to stick to the eye became even fell unlikely tears Urameshi up. At the time of your disease. Because of you miles to your nearest and insidiously monk. I also would not say even if I call you into mistakes to doctor the same level. Such a grapevine of your words will have to disappoint me. And he says, the heir you to Nasakina is unlikely. Wife at all know the circumstances of Senia. As will be Seth is your seat, you will find a very rude. And say, lower all mistakes of the center of the main house. See, it was to guide the Kaoru into the chamber to enter the monk of the night stay. But you were actually body also painful in. To have to say this is also wife. I think that unexpected may result to once suspiciously the contrary. People also to reveal the rejection. Decided to speak out a little have at you while I think Mono-ku. To how to say sometimes things in a very faint. Dead Kaoru and not a good sign. Also of it seems of the early days of illness lover becomes very sad. My heart is in total darkness. Not immediately things also are said. Hesitation, while continued to talk, all the way to also Urameshiku, where you live in the middle towards the back. In the form, such as the little push Vikicho from the bottom of bamboo blind, seemed painful that indicate the Narina Reshi up a seal of example. It is considered to be troubled. Are you in calling to near the person that you of Major General? I'm holding for a while because the chest hurts. And I heard the saying that chest is what still becomes painful and keep it. Even that was recit of Kaoru while leaked the Tansoku saying. Mrs. in the main house's anxiety was cans. When you hear why so much all the time you painful people at first told me that sometimes when feeling is bad once again willing to sue youth become to you say you're so people as it will wilt thou wary of me. Quote, you became ashamed of in listening to say of Kaoru. I am there in the usual chest hurts hero. My sister was also there in that way. Short-lived people I say Toka's all something like this suffering thing. And he said, since not of everyone to have a life of 1,000 years of pine, or to think that unexpected may be the as such a danger is approaching. The Kaoru'd have been pathetic to think and died, and only now the words. Mrs. should not even bother Hibakaru to hear the wife that called Igasoba. Very bad place only, although not to mouth. That or not I love you. No matter how deeply from the old days. You'll only in this so as to communicate the meaning say. In order to have Kaoru a good speech. Not hear more in friendship to the person. The person was thought to have around and is the person everyone a rare kindness as they say from until now. Table where are we talking about sadness? Not even exhausted was widowed and pretty much total angular of the princess. From my A-boy, wanna be themselves away from the world. Correctly Fumi rooted Buddhism that hope and what to do is. But it I was just. You was that the previous generation of fate. Your approach so from the time I began I miss that those who do not even mean. And we have different heart that I was inclined to faith. Also after you were killed and also start the women and negotiation of here and there. Heartbreaking mind but also found. That try to comfort. I found such a thing is for sure that it is not intended that there is nothing of the effect. Because people on me the charm is found that you are not in this world to the other. It seems to sensuality and it will is precisely rude be in a dilemma and I think you with. Misunderstood you of the embarrassing but such pour of love. I want the place intended Tantantaru. Just when it's time to time direct to you in space of this much I mentioned talk about that feeling. In that your relationship is in Matsumaji of the extent to which you can get words somehow would be. No attempt to how to blame anyone. I unusual CEOs of the general public people since you admitted you are. Wherever you please have your peace of mind as well. Quote, and the like resentment if Kaoru was also crying is to say. If you did not have your credit, Yule will not be like you and Shikashiku talk down to just do something like this. Misunderstanding. For a long time, because of my father, I please show you courtesy for sister because the thing that is well proposed that. Usually, in the I mentioned your trust and guardian of the relationship that cannot be explained. Only we will also and out from here to something you're innocently by now. Quote, it does not seem to remember me or it if there was such a thing. It just of it or does not you say so very much. So finally in the consultation that you would like to now come to Uji became accepted you my existence why I do not mean that. It just even pathetic I was able satisfaction. A person in Goai because it was smoke to become you can see the sincerity. We think very grateful. Quote, something like this to say. But his looks reproachful heart which is not trivial tired to Kaoru. Is it then there are those who are listening. Not even going to try I said the remains of the things that I think. Looking at doing I toward the garden. Autumn day becomes gradually darker. But only the voice of the insect is standing high without undeniably to what? More of the rockery has become the other darkness. Leaning on pillars at Fu of Shimaya cannot be surprised if made in such a time. You had a little feeling the embarrassment of being to not try to leave the Kaoru. A Siraki was decorated Tante privately financed. The world if not Nari which is in it as long as the love of from the hum in Kaoru is such a low voice. I became a prisoner of sadness, there is no other way. I want the place to be somewhere seclusion, but not necessarily those of the Morsei temple in Uji sites to create one of the temple of the old days Kata humanoid, and those that flow into the river on behalf of the people and the Hari, or portrait to put what was depicted in the picture, where he now recently to feel that Shrine to Buddha worked. Quote, and he said, although there is talk about the Shim only, it will be in human form and you say, she was in Mitarashi River purification ceremony, will be remembered. Also fear that if not happen things like that, and love flattery. Instead of the one it is there is sorry to old people because there is not best regards because there is not a thing of true. If you do not provide a golden well it seems that unexpected might be drawn not me as a painter. Quote, you say in this, it's right, I from those that the artist would not you never made a favorite portrait. There are painters of legend or something truth of flowers have been falling from the painting. Shortly before the era, such a person I of Carrarian outside. What are you in the heart of looks like, full of sparing the dead man even though talk I think also in poor, but one was of being also seems to hassle for itself. Depending to near the little bamboo blind go. By now people type and you say, I was reminded of one of the story by chance. And I began to say, the look of always exceeded familiar with the situation is Kaoru is pleased. It would be kind of talk. While saying this caught your hand in from the bottom of Kicho. Of medium to troublesome feelings you were to become. But somehow put a stop the love of the people. Because there is a mind that I think would like to intersect in peace. It had been casually as not news also to the wife. A long time you have of such a person I did not know of my people. And we have been out of this summer around distant country. But I was tourist the Anshin to hear that I am here. And others although I do not think, though had been made to feel like unexpected can also become familiar with rashly accepted as it is. A story that I heard for the first time. The face of the person is strange that it was come to the other day to see you here I so looked like the sister that died about such. I had to remember what seems to love. Behold will be that there is not be suitable for the oboshi meshi and the keepsake. Women also the sister was like a different there is certain is that he had to say that it seems the way of the people of grew up. But will the face and appearance is why also similar and nani. To not there is also a les ties. Quote, I heard I think until that it is a dream of the story forced shout certain Kaoru your words in this will become adores you and that there is a proper reason. Why is just the story did not Kudasara not a little also tell us until now. I sense but the old fact is there than not be able to be positive negative to me. By saying there will be those who are Sasora, without having also made many of the news. Is your father to food disturbing it is there also be fitted think like that now sometimes you leaked. But the father was a past of misfortune also to thank Soyu to also Kokoro Guroshu of the things. That will be a zake cold in such a thing. Quote, according to the words of Yurin. It was realized that seems Princess Keepsake the person was the transience of love of your opponent of the temple was allowed to give Kaoru, and mind is attracted to what was said to be similar to a large princess. Because that is good for it is good, even as it is as not to see, or does not please you a little more detailed story. And Chuinagon wanted, but Yuin remember the shame did not hear saying that fine. If you have there then Biobo Shimeshi want to know that person. But much is there than good even if I say teach you that Mosu and its sides. And I do not propose in detail. The result you to hate if I taste to find to talk if there is not difference in made it too. Not as good as in the story that has been sent the illusion nurses to the distant sea. Mind you want to seek the people of the other world is there to be to me. Even if you cannot be seen with the human reincarnation of such deceased. Such is the current from the heart to think that and have the comfort of not living. the person interested in will have if mows from the heart to try to satisfaction the seers. People type not considered. The principal image of Mito in the mountain village is not bolded. It should be noted that if not, please let a little more credible story. Quote, Chunagon was the blame Yuan brought out the suddenly interest of the new princess. That but your father is a person who does not also became the place you are recognized as a child. I think of it will be so much talk is imprudent. For you to become I think you want a painter with supernatural powers because the thing that I feel sorry, quote, from saying further, if I had been brought up, such as in a long-distant country, his mother is now rising pity, that they came variously appeal to me. While we are not able to have without coldly Toriawa, I was him down here. Do you blame that could not be seen only in faint? Seemed no unsightly than had been imagined. Whether trying to what kind of marriage? It mother was a state in which the struggling there. It is I think that a too excessive that I'd have the Buddha of your Mito. It is not a thing like so much of qualified why? Mrs. said such, implicitly. But his as a point is envisioned that would be conceived of Yuan as a means of warding off a love was the reproachful. The person that was similar to the deceased was Kaoru that attracted the mind indeed. While deeply I think that it has seriously with their love, and continues talking Chunagon to the sensible excited at the point where Yuan even the unexpected show the contempt seems to be probably because their sympathy to their own the inside was over even dandruff night. Mrs. has a fear of how that if reflected in a glance, that the had entered suddenly to the back to see the chance of the opponent. Well, I think is that Keisu Gesu also a reason even Kaoru, reproachful, until the tears not be quieted his regretful feelings be also ashamed to come unsightly of the spill, while the complex writhing, to leave the violent act that was allowed to emotions. Lover even if would be bad for myself or, by force to the reflection, was Jikyo while the Tansoku more than hero. Will should I so mismind if treatment? This is followed by the just go must not be bear the hardship. Not subject to public condemnation if no matter how. Moreover, such as would be true of love and, perhaps because it is Chunagon of youth is not a heart that has been honed to a lot of love. A wonder for you and also for itself. The night was revealed continues to the thought that impossible a far from peaceful road cannot be such as to connect the relationship between the lover and the person that person has said and believe in. It's a similar. If a person who has been nourished in the local government class house, to be an attempt is made here but it would not be made to failure. I think. Such is no difference to be not interesting to tie that does not matter in the person's will is. But when I heard the story felt the temporary excitement, become calm where are you it is that there is also much catching worth a mind and Kaoru if you look, Sanso for a long time and have not seen made Kokorobasoku to feel to be far away and long ago in. More Miss Kaoru Uji, went out on September 20 several days. No master houses vandalism blown river wind more. Just amazing noisy sound of water as a caretaker. Empty not even only wandering in the more unexpected stick are noticeable. The heart of Chunagon darkens from the time that I saw this come here. And remember the sorrow not even as long. And say I want to see the none of the valve. Open the sliding door opening. It was the greeting come to immediately beyond the Kicho blue dark gray. There is the rude, but because there's of these days I have become a much less Buki Mia figure. And now seems to be better managed and withhold. And say, face not exhibit. No matter if I think you'll become a come live lonely. That'll only you came out and seems that it is the only partner to talk about my sadness. Years went standing Zunzen. From there, when he said Kaoru to glance tears is this the old woman was a cry not even try to stop let alone. Not because of your own. When I became come continued a deep musings for your sister like. If you remember in which was empty of such a fall. Even if there is in me at any time lonely. Especially autumn wind is thank Surala died to learn. When you become a fact now. It's the thank Kanash you heard. as was I sported worry of Daiheim recommendation has my going in as your most such phenomena. Kyoto again Masu, even if there is temporary to look what way, to one in which returns to be built even time also outdated. Becomes it to give up the disease and that it is a pessimistic mindedly. That's well error not an explanation. It's a thinking to be sad now. It medium, such as he has now experienced the princess. First ordinary things and nay if you my said, never the temple your love is do not seem to take faded way. Such as requiring a concern. It is rather die again of sad to say than that. There are no more irreversible so is dead. Quote, to say Kaoru cried. Kaoru call from the temple of the Acharya, was commissioned that of Kyokon and Buddha to pray to the Ho of the anniversary of a person's death of large princess. Also, I will come something like this from time to time here but of came just to cease death only mourn, and the out feudal tan nor to become the comfort of the soul for H. Polymorpha, of Oyama the main room I corrupted I think you want built in the Soba Edo. Also hope to want a Tori Kakara fast to it. Quote, both say, some denominated in the temple, about the fact that what to do with the corridor. The two of Kaoru such shows right, respectively. Acharya had expressed an uncommon assent to be precious idea with housewise who things the people of long ago became Atsukuri be selected the land as tasteful sanso. Is also seems that heartless. But that person is he himself also Buddhism has the only faith. All even if Obo Shimesh you want devoted to the Buddha also made to think you can of your bereaved family. Such your will is to be interpreted in what has not been placed. It is now home to be with your ownership of the wife of Hayabusa prince come to be in. Because it is one of your property of that temple like, it would be inconvenient in the temple remains of this your mansion. I cannot do it for no apparent reason as well as it is state even though close to two river, too visible from the better of the river. So the main room only I corrupted. My idea you want to give to create a new building instead to hear. Quote, Kaoru Sayana, is fine, very attentive you think. After we lost a loved one, the old man had been hung to the neck put their bones to the long-standing bag. Will let abandon you the bag and the Buddha of your expedient. Faith there is also talk that came to the road, and I put on view this main room to see is it a waste that also move your heart to grief. To become a built you a Mido leads to a new way a lot of people good is also a way. If there is also that also help your comfort Mosu for your soul. Hurry let's get down. Dr. Yin will select the lucky day. Architecture nurses too with experience. We please chorus you three people if. Because there is a formulation of the fine it is also Buddha who. Let's I will to be made in accordance with it. Quote, Acharya was each other received saying. It decided that the various and decide. Called the people who custody of the territory. For the matter of the construction of Mido. All to the instruction as per Acharya and Kaoru got late short autumn day while you are or told her. Since it was Kaoru to be going tonight in the cottage. I think it would be as long as this time to see this main room. Kaoru has been seen around between here and there. So had moved toward everyone well as Buddha Matera. Only the Atsud home of none of the valve look at the lonely Buddha room ritual of her placed. She thought that poor Kaoru and Will are living every day in any feelings in such a place. The main room is to be rebuilt. Build up is let in advance live to the parlor of the corridor. Should be sent toward the queen of the article of the hospital as give you may to have called a person of my manner. It was also the none of the valve to the attention that was like Kaoru bits and pieces. In addition to the location. But will are you without interest at the outside of the field of view? Such as like this old woman. Deep sympathy Kaoru with. Old story let me sleep to close at night chamber relative to the valve did. With peace of mind to know people who hear valve. Also, such as that of Fuji Dainagan it was heard in bits and pieces to Kaoru. From now, another your condition are difficult. Though that was there of your state to Oboshimeshi want to see again and again the person who was your birth was there then was that not all the time forget to me. Most from that time if by now much will last days. Also the you can seeing you koshite. And whether the reward that we serve you at Dainagan like your zaisei and sincerity as we have appeared naturally. There is the happy also sad also omoi shiryu. And I have a life too long. And meet in a variety of sad mosu my destiny is embarrassed. It will be miserable. Sometimes from the queen of the 2 articles of the hospital come out to see you. Do not try to koyo alone with it but you will also find Kage Kudasaru saying and the like would not love me. I became auspicious bad appearance. Does not have even those who want my name rendezvous you in addition to the other amata the like. Such as the valve of the nun said. Talk of large princess also told many. A saw and heard served intimate story. When Toka became any time to this you say. From time to time move the heart to the natural scenery. Such as song poem of the deceased. To not be seen as unbecoming a narrator. Voice only tells the well had example but had a few people of the word Adaisama. And there was also such a literary place. Kaoru was further thought miss the deceased. Palace of Mrs. a flashy nature a little compared to it. But the people that do not allow the mind there is a Rishiku type of people also take resolute attitude. Compassion to yourself deeply. Why only from his love has uso you. Kaoru if there is something you want friendly forever only friendship no thing was or thought by. Comparing the queen of 2 people. Kaoru things that people type in passing of such a story tried started to say. Hey do you have them there is that people these days in Kyoto. I that old is subject only know to hear from people. Included 80 of the temple like it is still that of the previous which is not take come to this. Sanso. His wife was and said that your lieutenant general by the time close become Ryu died. A good wife. That the good people as well. Such is the nature. The temple like sported the mistress as a trifle. Nobody where knew who did not have a girl at the time the person has produced. Because the thing that the temple like has become come with concern that unexpected may be such a thing happens. Subsequent your attitude and completely change let alone. You will find them did not become absolutely your approach. It is now to learn by experience you to those that susabi be a motive. Because had to sport the same year life and though like Lieutenant General Serviu was not you that I also dropped by now bad rules but to. Then Oramashi went to later Mamoru Matsu become a wife Ningoku. When I moved to Tokyo. Princess is alluding to here and we may leave safely your growth at the I come. Temple like is now ask. Because nows it is fully say that it should not need to come to hear such a anshin. Lieutenant General my name is Hatanai. It although my husband I came to the east together become throughout Hitachi. There is of it alone with news did not hear anyone. And we have this spring Hitachi Kai up. You like the place and Lieutenant General to visit there and I heard we have been and Mosu it is. Kinda. Princess 20 will Irasharu become much on. Very beautiful person and in sadness that I see came to you now. Still Lieutenant General Mr. Young was also available in the writing or was it like a novel of Kaoru heard everything, so what seems to be true? Mine that wanna see that person happened. Because what I with a heart that I wanna ask. Even to the old days of far if there is a person that resembles even a little to the princess. Country. Is not the difference that the house is eventually sister or even did not to count you as a child. Since it's such I, rather than my the mood to convey all the way from the front. Please keep in saying even only to have been saying. In passing something of the letter came. Quote, only Kaoru asked with, mother is there then a person falls niece of the wife of 8 of the temple. I followed the man was of the blood. The old days are lived in distant countries both. There was no such thing as often meet. The other day Daisuke from Kyoto is now Taurus the letter. Because that it is Irasharu to say that you would like to somehow you go even to the temple like. the grave. But was that in its intention? After a long time's messages from Lieutenant General, it does not give me things that in there you, because you will become visible, you of them here. Let's arrival to receive your like of said to the clause. Knight tried to go home Kaoru since dawn, but was determined to make deliver such things as or something silk toko cotton that arrived from Kyoto late last night to Acharya Matera. It gave also to the nun of the vow, monks of Teranoshita class. Kaoru been also allowed to prepare to textiles, such as for nun kun of the servant was gave. It is a lonely form of life, but in this way in order to us to all the time auxiliaries Chuinagon. Feel free to frugal living is able to vow, in the cold wintry wind to blow through before unbearable. Of autumn leaves that drop, the leaves without branches remain. Estimates to estimates. Nobody entered watched in the garden that cannot be seen even after he stepped on. A Kaoru look not proceed of mind to go back, it was only autumn leaves of ivy dressed in was a good shape to Kiwagi was still remaining red of. Kaoru seemed to give to you in a little bit so torn in vines of the snack was made to have the servant. Original to bean of the tree if not out omoi and mistletoe also mashi house sabashikara. To hear of that humment valve. Sadness of the original rough as vine rotten wood as karo keep omoi and mistletoe. That is a feminine nun was old only. Bad feeling that it is not without knowing the hobby did not Chuinagon. They gave the autumn leaves of mistletoe of Kaoru to the article of the hospital. Was when just visiting in the coming temple is. From Sanjo of the temple. He said that the uses brought without nanishin. Even those his wife that can hide. But had been afraid that I might have along the letters you've been always as written of such things as their own of trouble and there was no. Mia's. Your beautiful ivy. The meaning is the hair to you to say. But was to become to see in order to your hand. To the letter. Do you woven in what your situation is these days? And we go to the mountain village. We saw the results that are pulled out of the sadness to still peaks morning mist let's think in. Such a story or down. That fixed the door of the main room in Maido came commanded the Acharya. After got the excuse. Let's start also to be transferred to another location. Please take a yari say you untimely become your consent from you to the nun of the vow. It had been written this way. It's a letter that dare write Shirajora Shiku. I would had heard that are in here. And Mia were become your say. It might have been the case a little. Although Mrs. is was delighted that the was only said of errands. Even where suspicious but I think annoying the temple that sports unspeakable. And its very beautiful face you have your meshy likely. If this person is okay's any negligence also would be willing to forgive the temple became come look. Write your answer. Because I choose not to see. Mia became it on purpose opposite to the other better. Just because now say you do so. Mrs. I think that would be suspicious is not written. Now come to the mountain village was heard and that you envy. There is had been thought that it is all right to Itasu to Maido as the Lord said. But also I think that there is a need as a retreat for myself. But devastation is there was also hope that you do not want to Atasa. It is proposed that thankfully if measure come true your both ways hope your good offices in. And I wrote a reply. While becomes come think that would be too if only dodge the friendship of such foo. Is sass from your kokoro one hesitation of your own as there's a secret. Will the hard mononoke is your anxiety. That thin in the implantation of the garden became withered. Wither is high beautiful form that has let out of the hands to be fluttering only multiplied by the ball penetrate the do not have the ear the Nanakusa grassland but is it trivial? Such as you are blowing the evening breeze is what often the shim to the body. And Shigeku do of the foot lead-eyed unexpected things Omurashi Shino Japanese pampas grass in the ear will be only us again on your kasode it became soft. The Bila tempo became come play. When so come out a beautiful sound to scrape alignment of Kikin Echo. Because his wife was a favorite music. Reproachful fu only is to Orezu. A little figure leaning from the side of the small Kicho to Kiyosoku Genwashi and what looked very pretty. May what to wear to the scenery if the thin glimmer wind of the base, Akiwatsuru field. 1 Myself. Wonder if Suru also resentment the Nabita of the world to myself when of Kara flowed of Ohokata. Quote. Also coming is Namita Guma of the one to say. The mood is also to be the lovable Mia, although become think you are diverting in a truly embarrassed fan. Forget the other man because it is such a person as there is no difference to be reproachful to. Learn of Mrs. Become you have the will you and the doubt think want. Without changing the color to a still good purple-white chrysanthemum. Becomes the temple was folded us has become to what did you do with whether only one beautiful. Purple in slow especially at Shiroi how is the air various Sukarava in Hano became to come. In Shoshi and predilection chrysanthemum. The evening that certain prince became come love this flower. It's that taught the hand of the Bilwa came flying celestials. So that everything even in the ill-advised moved the hearts of celestial things that music is. Pathetic was gone longer from the ground. Quote. And I say now the becomes it put the instrument down, yum sorry in. Only the human mind would have also become ill-advised. But it will not also corrupt as in so much music that we have transmitted from the old days. Saying, Fu wished to snip from the ear of the hand that is Obo Sukinaku in itself seemed. Palace. So because those of the lonely are playing alone, please fit you. So you say to the 13 to my wife become not issued you a bail, but was to be also boss a trying run over by a Mrs. Although the old days was there's a person who is a teacher. Roku even when such things I was not able to up your learning. Said shyly, you do not even try to touch the hand to the instrument in. This much of it to still be there any you art of the pathetic show the things that separated. People of the place go through these days. Though not in relationship to the extent say that still the mind can be solved. An uncompleted product basis I will play without the refrain from speaking with please let Kodo. Woman, I was saying also that Shunigan is soft obedient is good. To that person would not be seen only the so refrain. Because of a great good friends. For even became your resentment out the words until Kaoru things and the like. Mrs. played a little kodo while the tansoku, recently used in chanting harp became fit you in the ban watarucho because the cord was loose. Sumato of scraping alignment of the wife is beautiful. The Saibara of eyes of the seat your voice of goods often you clean the house to become a sing you. Softly wife who had heard came back to such of Kijo was showing all the satisfaction the smile. Two of the wife you have a sport of is that you reproachful. It also is because you a world of habit. Still I do not have other is to say the wife and well-being of people. Your life becomes important wife of such a place to become better into the original life was like. Not even be able to think. You'll be well you say this oh one returner that what was. From Ichizu to become to say ol, wife is rather young wives in. Quietly may leave, it had been crucified with. 3 while becoming like to teach you Biwa. Now 4 days come remain the temple to article of the hospital. The people of Sadaijin home do not become come to make an excuse. Such as that from now on probation date to Roku joined the Urameshi TTI. The minister came out to 2 articles of the hospital to return path exit from the imperial palace. I want to say in what you came to come to be a very much a seal. Will be referred to you as such. The temple has been made to become cranky. Became your meeting go toward the reception hall. Unless something of the opportunity we have no longer to rise to this hospital all to me what you see in the eyes as you will let die to wear. Both said. After it has been a while and talk of Roku join. The minister was going to luring you a temple. Son are other high-level officials. To see the greatness of the forces that are taking along many such palace circles officials. It had become a feeling you as that May thought of in the world to helpless about for herself. Not become also in comparison. While wife at all voyeurism. Really you clean the minister like. In and Nani your fine son like us. All young prime and you're beautiful and I say that may be better us. Nobody is not that there is no person who up to your father. Come what called a handsome man me'll try. Quote, it was also those who say in the, also, Anna I make a large a seal. It does not comfortable I nanny regretful. World so come, such as to bother pick you up. Woman to Tansoku and also there was. Mrs. himself remembered the lonely Kishikata. Been thought that finally Koko Robosoku it is a pale about yourself if that is impossible shadow. Occupy the gorgeous people in the world corner. Safe is still of their own would be retired to Uji it was to be considered wool. Day was at as early stood year. From the pain of unusual body from the end of January wife began to feel. The temple also because it was not your experience became still see your trouble of women to the production. Sporting a worry with what will happen. On it became come by prayer. And more at Grenard until now. Was commanded you to begin the dual cultivation further any other. Use of very sympathy from Nakamaya in order to condition appeared to danger came. Although Ewing consists of to welcome to the 2 articles of the hospital to the foothold 3 years. You're only not only the ones neglect your love of the good people of the house. Respect is paid from the general corresponding to still direct Prince Mrs. You did not crack. This time set up the use of sympathy surprised all anyone is in. Came also to the article of the hospital itself. Source Chunigon remember the anxiety which is not as good as to become come to worry of the house. Even not help but Kazukawa Shiku. Without can also ask others or approaching to go to the superficial sympathy. Secretly I was allowed to, such as prayer in, expression of saying clothes of woman ninomiya of this person fiancé becomes the verge of it. The world is at a time when you are clamoring to prepare thriving rituals of the day, so that all of the emperor himself who is responsible care and sported. This is also seen as large as rather more happiness without a maternal relative to sponsored. On top of many of the furnishings that Nyogo Fujitsubo of the deceased mother Kun had been prepared for Himamiya, Toka cord of crop plants. When your personal opinion is being transmitted to Kaoru and so have finished the myriad things became to made you become your kami to do with such as local secretary. Begin to attend after having undergone of the formula because there was. But it should have been even normal to different tension in the sun in Lahao. Still appeared to say, even if the as usual until now things there. I think just a pity that heavier production in Tansoku it was Kaoru to continue. Just Shokumono in February of Sakujitsu. When carried out the promotion serenin of the remaining officials at the time of the removal day of January. Kaoru goes right Dainagan was supposed to serve concurrently as the right general. Udaijin who were also left general until now has resigned only more of the military profession. The right is shifted to the left. It's the right general has been Ho. Kaoru was around the Grenard to the greeting of the newly appointed. Wasam down also to Hyobu lord of the temple. There when the wife is suffering. The temple is from now come to the west of the pair of 2 articles of the hospital. Kaoru was came to hear. Become the temple use surprise though it is inconvenient place to receive the rituals have monk in. Come, become Totano you who your dress summoned along under prone of the hem to the newest again. For the bow of the customer it was also basa down the answer to the question of worship to the downstairs. But to general was also fine. The temple also looked very fine your appearance. Because it was the eagle this day issues a fireman's standard head with a showan of petty official of the right Kanofu, but which was said that in Jitai. A little in that there is a hospital of Nijo that suffering of your medium to close as you hesitate. Sadaijin of the evening fog was carried out in Roku joined because began to say trying to banquet in the house for his brother. Prince he also becomes your Ratsuri to the banquet as guests partake. And higher officials, even in a large number of came in response to the invitation. A grand is not as good as large feast of the newly appointed minister. As to little noisiness it became a thing of Hyobu but sir then it was to come is also out of the house. In order that the wife is your kazukawashi, but became your way to the article of the hospital in a hurry while still unexpected end of a feast. New of Sadaijin house Mrs. think unsatisfactory. Wanted netamashi. Will to do so seems that from the heart, but it is what is loved by the same extent that Ogo, to be the right house daughter. Finally article hospital of his wife in the Don gave birth to a boy. Mia also became very pleased. Right General was also delighted that the was able to get the pleasure at the same time as the news of promotion, along with the come mentioned to think that I am out on last night's feast. To I say the joy of your men's birth. Kaoru was came as soon as the return to the home to two articles of the hospital. Since Hyobu Lord of the Temple has been folded as it is much article of the hospital. Did not have people who do not waiting upon in my name your pleasure. The night of the 3 days of Sanyo in your event of Chichimiya was worshipped the Sanyo from the right general in 5 days. 2 and food 52. Gohan Xian. In accordance with that example it has been determined that such wan meshi stacked boxes, third of maternal to Mrs. Cooking 10. Those 5 ply the clothes of the baby's eyes. Such as diaper be exhausted as Aru to be a delicate unexpected was to be seen well. Orishiki of Osaka trees to Chichimiya. Cuisine, such as in Takatsuki, Fuku, noodles, is of such has been enshrined. Wives as in addition to the heavy padding cuisine, was issued along with the confectionery 30 basket filled. Very much to be eye-catching is was not on purpose. Since the night of the 7 days was nourishing childbirth from Nakamaya. Retsurua people in the seats there were many. Nakamaya, palace circles officials the Taiyu as the beginning. High-ranking official was the Wasam down about unexpected may even number. Emperor Biwenjiao the birth, Lord of the Temple Hyobu the first time, will say. And a sign of joy that became a father should give all means. It has given the sword to the new prince. Also the 9th day there was a production nourishment from Sadaijin. It is not pleasing the competition's wife a beloved daughter. But Habaka, the Obo Shimashi's palace. Tuya also sent many people a son who was also to play the use of customer service. Mrs. at the same time and continued to do this several months pensive. Agony of the body is also not a moderate par. But was thought only kokorobasoku. May I Nagusan little come the day that is wrapped in such a gorgeous air. Right Jen, would be something like this can be to you in the upset by unexpected position. It has become the prince of his mother. To will only join the indifference with respect to their own love. Love the temple in this Mrs. although the think that it would just lean many was to the field. Regretful. I could not stomach not think happy as in that thing called your happiness in that hope from the beginning and became a certainty in this it was. Expression of same clothes of woman Ninomiya is carried out 20 several days of the month. Right General on the next night Wasam down to Fujitsubo. This is not what seemed ritual. Had been secretly things. Dissatisfaction is remember to become a man one vassal to the good people. Control of Himamiya. Became Kashizuki you about looks like a big deal world. Engagement even if the leave is to forgive me. But there was also a person who Mosu that seems to accuse or not may not be so pressed in a hurry. So the marriage. It is now your Omo Itachi will be transferred soon to the execution emperor from your nature of. It was seemed that the sport is in your thinking of hospitality to Kaoru as the son-in-law of emperor. Until there is no example in the past people to become your son-in-law of the emperor will allow lot. Even now the old days. But things like that sported still absorbed in Mukotori like just a human being in your thriving. Your reign would have been less. Sadaijin also. It is a man with a bright gen. Great destiny. Roku join even to thing of much turned out to that mother temple deals when it is his priesthood in his later years of Suzaku Council. Not much less anyone to forgive is like me I not only picked up for no apparent reason that he said such a thing. Mrs. of the house could not be sport Stonehenge that is in a thing is your shame. Starting with the financer evening of the 3rd day. The people succumb addressed the emperor to guardianship of the woman Ninomiya. If there is said to temple with officials, people in the right general precursor, Zujin, car officers, Tenariat gave Mitoya Tama up to. It was not changed even a little to the normal handling of the groom's house. Kaoru to Fujitsubo to Shinobi is later than went through. In my mind is that of the old days. In the old days only thing people with Yukari seems. During the day all the day lived in thought. It is also going to visit you a woman Ninomiya nor our intention at night. Such a habit because a person was not of Kaoru that seems painful and troublesome was conceived. Attempt to pick up the temple from the imperial palace to Jitai. That the Imamiya has been pleased to Oboshimeshi, but it became Seth try and Yuzuro the main room that is in your house of your own to all the bride's house. It is that in which the Kaoru to say too good. Of its own I had not made the corridor between the Nenzu auditorium. It seems going to pick up the temple toward the west side of the parlor. Such as east of the pair also burned had later also further beautifully the facilities had made. Stunning architecture. We entered into the emperor of your ear that such a provision of Kaoru. Entering to immediately good people of the house to get married were being Oboshimeshi to anxiety. And will anything, emperor, also darkness of the heart to be love you a child is of such same thing. Where envoy is married to the Imamiya, even in that was of your letter. Only just that the woman Ninomiya had been written. To you died since Suzaku Institute became there you entrusted heritage and to be specially your assistance this Imamiya. Your treatment of the two dishes princess even after being a priest is not to change her. Mia to become a hope from is of the courtesy of Morsei to become all your adopted emperor became. Kamsho, a person of such best and father-in-law kun, as Hahamaya, to not appear to special glad the heart of Kaoru or not the matter is also an honor to be treated. You cherish. Now so Tomoshiri Bobi in the pensive face. I had hastened to think to take care of the erecting of Mido of Uji. Hyobu F counted the Lord Maid of the 50 days of Wakagami the temple day. That in the eagerly preparing for celebration of Bin for the formula, basket of bamboo, was devised also own up to such as a basket of cypress. Because I was the one who has placed the tree of precipitation. Rosewood, silver, excellent artisans, such as golden in many homes. The people were working hard to manufacture and flip inferior cracking. Kaoru has also visited the wife of 2 articles of the hospital in time to grave to come the temple. Kaoru Kimi in as I think no one Omoimoshi and nobility were a long thought. Since the other Kaoru was also married, but his wife was then came out with confidence that it would have gone undercover everyone feel like become my junk. Still the same as lonely facial expression, and not tears. I found that it shall not bear to or unexpected things that his was the marriage is not the intention pain. Agony just became more. If he complained that such is lack of sympathy to the bride's house Kaoru to Mrs. saying, you told us a terrible thing. Very is becoming such a thing to hear as imperceptibly humans. While you say in this as well, who have become the honor of the people even if it cease. To still deceased not be comforted it had delighted the purity of the people of love to say so as not to be forgotten, was I think also when the sister Kun is not alive. But it also would have been the same as the thin luck with the sign of victory with no competitor tan. Kunito de maru it with my wealth without there at all. Gills of the mood that was set to narrow the marriage without losing the information also. Sister Kun far by also think that seems not what will be respected even if immersed in what from the world seemed. Kaoru is heard to say that I want you to show us the Wakagami. Embarrassed while think. Do not want to be taken to have a heart separated to this person. That other than that you lama and unexpected accept the unreasonable love. You're in this person's feelings do not want to harm think. Without anything Stonehenge in itself. Was allowed to show out the Wakagami which was nestled in the nanny out of the bamboo blind. Needless to say, is not supposed to be ugly child. Amazing color is white. Beautiful. Kaoru look at the Wakagimi presentations and showing by M and make a high voice. This is I think that if there was a his son, of that was the end he care. Of this person mind human life of the willer has become difficult away. But this man, they become lovers is normally his wife dead. There is I think if me be left these people to the keepsake. Are seen as himself was a honor marriage because not dream considered as such may. If there is early born child from the woman Ninomiya is changed to human. I have regrets only to people with no irreversible so something like this dead, etc. That does not have the affection of the new wife princess or you sorry to write so much. Is this kind of weirdo to emperor love you especially? Until the son-in-law is not is going to be Asabasa. There is no choice but to keep watching the will of which was be complete talent as a public figure. So much of the young and happy also wife a favor, which showed me without hesitation the people, because the day was at a while you are talking to delicate than hero. Become the circumstances. Not shall be smoking a time of night in the other also I think painful it was. Kaoru went back while leaked the Tansoku. Would be a good smell of anything. If Sure folded sleeves and so what plum blossoms to Neo. It might hum scented also nightingale. There was also wife you are making noise and the like. The Sanjo of the temple from the imperial palace in the summer direction, to become blocked. The Sakujutsu of April. A woman Ninomiya Kaoru while still not come in the spring and summer of Setsuban decided to pick you up to Jitai. The day before the emperor turned to come to Fuji-Tsubo, was also Basa the feast of Fujihana. Chair of the throne had been erected by raising a mistake between the south of the eaves. This is the house in your event of the emperor not became your organizer. Upscale, such as officials and courtier of Kyozen was equipped from the built-in dormitory. Sadaijin, and Cha used Dainagan. Fuji Chunagon, Rekan Hioi Hidari governor. The prince lord of the temple Hyobu, such as the palace of Hitachi has been samurai. It had been able to seat of the court official under the south of the garden of wisteria flowers. To each other and musician who has been called to the east of the rear cool hall. Balloon a bitone from around late in the day. On top of the parlor is issued instruments of Gyoyu from more of Himamiya. People have it as a beginning of the Minister of Sight. It had joined to Roku join is for the press in handwriting. Out with the Sadaijin put a branch of 5 leaves the Kodo score 2 volumes, which has given to Amamiya of Sanjo. A derived from your was worshipped showing off. 13 one after another. Bail. Biwa. The name instrument's wagon has been removed. It is intended to Kaoru owned by the thing that was transmitted from Suzaku Institute. Flute intended keepsake that Dainagan has implied a person to tell out in a dream to the evening. Mist of Kashiwagi. What became very loved and one in which out good sound Roku join helps us to present the best ones. To give to the right general this I think that there is no other than the beautiful opportunity. It appears to be then this man for Kaoru has been prepared. Wagon to the minister, became Osatsuke the role of Biwa in Hyobu Lord of the Temple. Whistle right Gen. Stood below the Mayun without exceptional this day. People worthy of the role of the songs even in the palace circles officials called. Became a night of interesting ensemble. Kanajuku from more of a woman Ninomiya to you were worshipped. Orishiki of the Tree of Precipitation is 4. Takatsuki of Rosewood. The hitting mat of Dark Village of mauve branches folding of the same flower had been put out in. The embroidery. Silver positive instrument. Cup Hagi of Lapis Lazuli was Ruri navy blue. Hioi supervision was the sight of serving. When you enshrine your cup. Minister to is not my best regards myself often come out. Say that since the untimely to come is also appropriate me a play in the role. Gave the role of this Sunny in the right general. Kaoru had been a decline in the refrain. Because I was like emperor also to have hope as you that. How to put out the voice of that devoted your cup press. also including the intercession of the body, also looked to be no fine as intended to compare, but is a role for everyone in sight. Do be as because live up the omoinashi as a son-in-law Mr. Today. And it gave us the cup of returns. Such as the appearance of the bow of the downstream dancing downstairs was like shining. Prince Yi, to the minister is that it is even extremely honored to bestow your cup, etc. Because this was a case of your hospitality sports your heart is to have it as a much less your son-in-law form. Such as happiness itself I looked in, because class was to have determined. Minister. When I arrived I came back to the seat under the Inchayu's Dainagan as even looked Kakoro Guro Shiku. Inchayu's Dainagan is either not a person who is himself wet so this honor in the bath. I thought in my heart to be the end that, once upon a time if you are in love with Nyogo of his mother of this house, there then the person had also sent unexpected news is all the time forgotten since the beginning of the seraglio, a heart that wants to obtain himomiya that birth at length or your would-be cause. For that to become your good people of your guardianship role instead of the temple it was intended. That I would like to wish you through the grapevine-ness. Because that person was not even sojo to know that wasteful. And Chaoyu's I'm sorry, as well as the right general as being born genius. The current emperor should not sports Kashizuki such a son-in-law. One vassal in Densha close to your living room in the Kinte's honeymoon it signed a dream. K2 although this such as sports banquet, or whatever struck at flashy hat as I would like to reproach such as with your do not get the meaning, have attended to mind as attracted to truly your feast of Fujihana. In the mind and was not angry. People who come to get a candle to put the song to the place of Wentai but seem to everyone. Tokuagao, because such a song of the case is of no difference to the often those old-fashioned was addicted to mold, to write checks bother and I did not. Although not made upstream of people very fine work, one only to sign, keep writing to ask to. When next the is the right general came broke the wisteria down to the garden. This is the case it is a song that I would like to emperor. Carry over sleeves to branch fall short of wisteria and fold slip to held up skills. Is not a little occurs antipathy to a shitterigao. Today you look at what the red unexpected color also of neo solder flower over man's bill. This is a gyosei, also someone's work, or inferior unexpected flower of scenery to the cloud of holding up a purple break for Kimi. Takanobori Karu Fujinami flowers to Kumoi not see even the color of the run-of-the-mill. After the seems-ish song of Dainagan had been angry. Which song also there may be a place that was wrong if there is rock bottom to hear of the author. Roughly in the song of such fu, were like those little of the place to be is inspiring. Music in accordance with the night indulge when entered the climax. Kaoru voice that sang you suddenly was good without necessarily. Since in Chaoyu's also the old days was a person with a good voice. She sang still fine tailored. Since the seven man of Sadaijin was of it was unusually interesting blew the whistle of the show in the form of a child he gave Enzo from the emperor. The minister was thanked for dancing downstairs. Emperor from another done closer became your way to the normal of the palace. Matoya Tama from the emperor to the luxury government people and the prince play. Palace circles as to officials and musician who became served with the arithmetic to memorabilia. From more of Himomiya. The next night Kaoru was carried out to welcome the Himomiya to Jitai. Ritual was as flashy. Court lady who came to almost send everyone. Mia to your car if the eaves are called. 3 eaves with no yarn hair car. 6 golden making below hair car. Just below hair car is 20. Is a Jiro car was a 2 companion. Why 30? Although the dojo in Shimizuke had been samurai by 8 people. Also issued a Tadashi Sosha then a dozen from the general house to put the wife of Jitai. Was to have you buy the delicate clothing, luxury officials send. Courtier. Everyone such as 6th place of brewers. Thus, the pickup was a woman Ninomiya. Kaoru has been adapted to Kokoro. Yasuko observed as a wife. Mia was your beautiful, petite and elegant calm. Anywhere that you know that not to have even your disadvantage. That said, rejoice to be as is not bad thing that my destiny. So scratches in the past of sad love healed then was not any. Because just as well the old days without any person who distracted even when what was Kaoru you think I miss now. Consolation must not be obtained for it while you are alive as myself. For the first time become a Buddha. Reproachful fate is what I think that would also be forgotten by ascertained is that it is a reward. The mind just to be the temple of the building it was going. If there is such a festival of Kamo, I went to 20 several days past also the world of noisy around Kaoru also to Uji. Look at the Mido under construction. From commanded that it should be from now on. Going to not visit the old mountain cottages seems to regret. When you are doing the car to the better. In the woman car. Than a much very much no but one. Wild Dongak man of samurai with many toting weapons to the waist. The number of servant and a large number. One line of his unlikely journey of anxiety is coming across the bridge seemed down while watching as a country-style guise. Jen enters within the mountain villa, and such is the precursor of a person to see when you are still noisy at the gate. A single line came the Uji bridge come refers to this Sanso things seemed was. Zujin we Kaoru is one because when we let me ask you one line that comes from someone and later. In a strange accent voice. Before. Hitachi is the return become a male you to protect like a young lady is Hatsushi temple you become. Your stay here even when you go. To hear the answers in. Kaoru was it. Remembering that it was a person who heard the story. His men put in to hide to a place that cannot be seen. Put a fast car. People who are coming to one more person customers here there is. Because it is folded towards the parlor. Which was hidden in the Waikoka Yasui. And it was said to the people after. Everyone also people of today's Kaoru, to us not to stand in the eyes. Etc. Karaji new figures is. But also what appears to people who are used to the aristocracy. Tashi Sarabak in all horses in Hibaka, Kashikoma, which was. The car was put to the west end of the corridor put. Main room is not all mistakes just still cannot over after the remodeling. Lattice is Kaoru from the 2 period of the whole of Fusumako and that is graded everyone was looking through. It took off because the hard codas make a sound. Had become a figure of only heeled and thimble. Car people do not come cage also immediately. Doing the people to the place of the none of the valve. It seems to have heard that it is a state that is to come of fine customer is similar to that. Someone. Kaoru is the people of the mountain villa from the time that was both the car of the main. Have knowledge everyone so had in first never say do the mouth time is that he is coming. Please get off early. Customers will become but will come to another parlor. It was said to be. Young wife had set a blind for my husband down from one-person vehicles. The wife compared to Mono she Knights of Kigo had a capital wind familiar things. And wife made by the year came down one more person. You're early. Say. Somehow I feel not better is fine. Voice to say that was a feint but heard good goods. And you told us it. Here there are people who look to anywhere as nay see people on this before the parlor do it is. Not and was closed all. Fiasco. The wife says that such foo was found. Looking at the people who come down shyly. The form of the head. Figure that a whole of slender seemed to will a reminder of old people to Kaoru. Kaoru in order not to be seen of the face have hidden spread to fill the fan was remember the uneasiness. Car of the floor is high, but the place was low to get off. Even though 2 of the wife came out to comfortably. People who got off taking longer looking at the lower painfully as Azari into the house has entered. Wearing an elongated seems pink color to Uchigi of the calf. Was wearing a pale green of small Uchigi. While the other side of the chamber are erected Kicho 4 feet to the other side of the Fusumako. With the exception of Kaoru. It is that all are visible from here because there is twitted higher towards the hole than this still daughter. The next room than Fu think the concern had laid himself turned over their direction. There is a really feel sorry. I pass even today thank Ozoroshu of Izumi River. There then was probably because it is good water was low at the time of February. Nani? Do you think that there is in this area such as a scary place if you the journey of Donga? Actually wife is such a thing without feeling painful both of us. My husband had fell down without saying anything. The family of the person referred to as such as Hitachi as well as the beauty of the arm which is visible from the sleeve seems lady invisible. Kaoru was her and paralyzed until the pain of the hip. But when where the man is looking to not move staring note me not be known. The younger wife up, well and good smell it, do you Irasharu in Thailand none. Was my surprised with, also old was more of, I really good incense. What I think of elegance to say the people of Kyoto. Heroes did Fubiobo Shimeshi your husband like the place is not a fine. To be Atsukuri to match this kind of incense in Donkuk I could not. None guess I will Irashai wearing what may be the ARC newsletter. And these simple living, not the Irasharo using those dyed dat special dad blue often dark gray. To say it had been praised. Come dojo from the edge of the better of the other side. As you served in hot water. And say, but various carried the thing that was placed on Orishiki. Bring sweets to the nearby. I would like a little. We do not enjoy this kind of thing. It has caused a daughter with, but the people do not listen. So even it began to eat by ones and twos to sound in chest not only two people found in Kaoru are frown eyebrows because was that which is not familiar, but was seen for a while left the place of Fusumako, which attract the mind. I continued to look at chance next to come to the original place if there is a young woman on then this class. Things here and there in the face of the beautiful including the palace of the empress. The Kaoru should know a lot of things elegant, even in the mind in the eyes if it is not particularly good person in order to not stay. There is enough to be condemned to two difference contemplation point to beauty from people. Although the in front of the now eyes are not visible to the people that there is nothing in the excellent place. Holding me also go up the side of the one curiosity was strange. Although Nun-kun is was tourist by relay the greetings also to the better of Kaoru. Is to say you and your mood is bad. And so come to for a while rest. Because he refused to serve him as accordingly. This Sitsa became to come say want to get the princess. As the first to start a dating these opportunities. Be construed as will or muffled in a room to wait for the night. Thus the person with the exception of the room next door without knowing in there that the usual Kaoru territory of domination we have delivered a heavy stuffing and cooking come to mood to ask to be issued as well, such as the servant of the line of Donga keep in various ways skillfully Hakara from it came appeared to again next room the appearance not to Magire as it has been praised while ago. The face was also good that there is dignity. I had to wait and happens to arrive you yesterday. Will if Nasu, and today also arrive you so has become slower. To tell the none of the valve such a thing, is a woman of better to old age. Because thing that only you painful your situation you will see. Yesterday is decided to stay beside the fountain river. Also because I looked like you're impossible this morning. There the because is what you decide to stand to your Ori. To aroused princess, who sat happening barely at that time. Face of the side ashamed to Nun-kun has concubine the body looks good from Kaoru place. Elegant look Hitomi. But hair of the condition was Kaoru face did not see even a small well of large princess. Just attached to see it be recalled in which was at this is. Tears spilled as in the example. Voice to the Stonehenge to say something none of the valve was similar also good to you there. But in a faint, is a person who is attracted by the mind. Was that a carelessly is that he had not known until the presence of a person that is similar to so. Sisters now. to feel that their own is not his, not can's love to as long as a person with a misvestige is up. So even in the low status of people than this, 8 and only much less say that this was not observed when I think that it is of the house of your daughter. It has been nostalgia joyous dwarf without as long as. Now even went to the next room. You live was it not yet, says the one of comfort their own mind. Was not trivial tired of emperor obtained only hairpin the only certificate doing use to pung lie. Let arrow. This is not the same person. Because Kaoru that it would become the be somewhat compensated the heart that became vacant in my sorrow I thought would be that there is karma. Nun-kun has gone to there only had been a while talking. The smell had wondered wife found himself sniffing. Be superfluous because it was realized that with the exception of Kaoru seems that did not say anything. Japan also so went after dark. Kaoru also quietly returned to the seat. The jacket was like to be or heard, such as that of the princess called that person to the usual Fusumako to speak with Nun-kun mouth. Convenience as well. I was supposed to meet here, but the story that I had asked before how was Kaoru say in the have been heard from the Lord said, but there then had been waiting just as if there is a good chance, and gave me also of which year, because supposed to rendezvous your first time at the time of the Mairi Hatsushi in 2 months from now this year there, mom to try alluding to you like oboshi meshi mister and although the large princess had been my name is Osoryoi and your scapegoat with 2 kenkaku. Just that time, even for the incorporation of more of you like in time that I was there. It had been accepted that neither you free. These problems had been also refrained that I do that your report in particular also have been proposed that there is a need to be and you're avoided. But also this and we may leave also you come to month. Also there then from which you close to the your Karigaki today. You will always come to the round trip of also available from your heart become adores you a temple. Like that now passed away or a ward. This time their mom is permissible is because the thing became arriving by one person. You like as there is no been said by me and like your lodging in the same hotel sports. None of this Valve answered. I think might no gad unsightly in person. But customers is I've to say that do not say that it is I. Where until the instruction is not a thing or destined to be protected. Because such as today who is not talkative hey. So say the do not you. I because it seems rather kiosku to become the only one. Please tell the suit came to the same place when there is so deep karma. Kaoru say in the, it referred to as I will there be your karma talk of showers. Let's get I say so. The valve to let stand. Separately KO 38,628 Hoya and Shijimi to also hear the voice of Kaho bird Shifuzo Tazo paint. The Kaoru as humming the was told this song, Valve to go to the place of the princess spoke. Thank you for your viewing. If you like please subscribe to the channel. I am very encouraged.